Hello, 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 hello. Let me see here. All right, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Let me see here. You got it. Okay, okay, everyone can hear me now. I want to fully apologize for being this late. I really didn't plan on being this late, but unfortunately, I wanted to do something a little special. Try to at least set things up for, the first day of Animania 5 week. You want to come in here with a bang, and all of a sudden we're having technical difficulties. When I set everything up, I had everything structured, and I don't know. Maybe it's time for no BS switch. Maybe I've been kind of prolonging that switch for far too long, and maybe it's time to just at least give it a shot. Who knows? But anyways, for those that are here tonight, I do want to appreciate you for joining us for the first day of Animania 5 week, which is an all new episode of the ACW Newscast number 93. Seven more away till 100. So that's going to be pretty cool. I'm Hakeem Johnson, your ACW commentator as always, and your host for the newscast as always as well. Today, we're going to be talking about a lot of things wrestling related. We're also going to run down the Animania 5 card and talk about what to expect from Animania 5 this upcoming Friday. It's going to be a huge night for ACW, 10 plus years in the making. Um, Quite frankly, this probably is my magnus opus in terms of the projects that I've done CAW related. This may be the most thrilling and just entertaining, enticing project that I've done in the 13 years I've done ACW. So we're gonna run down Animania 5. I am still putting the finishing touches to Animania 5, but it should be ready by Friday. And if it's not ready by Friday, I'll let you guys know as soon as possible. But it will. I will bet you right now that it'll be ready. If it'll be ready by Friday, and if not Friday, it'll be definitely out by this weekend. So whether Saturday or Sunday, but either way, you're getting Animania 5 this week. Okay, so no more stalling. You're gonna get it this week. I promise. All right, without any further ado, you already see it on the screen there. We got some things to talk about. We got some news to address. And we're going to start things off with the WWE and the incredibly bad week they had last week. See, this is why I'm glad we're having a newscast this week. This is why I'm extra glad we're having two newscasts this week. It's going to be great. So, anyways, as everyone noticed or everyone is aware at this point, Raw and SmackDown were able to earn record low ratings of all time on a non-holiday. Raw and SmackDown earned the lowest ratings. I believe SmackDown earned their lowest ratings since moving to the USA Network, or I believe possibly on Tuesday nights. Period. And Raw has another record low for their whole list, which has been the case for at least 2 to 3 years. Um, it's funny if not sad, and you might think I'm reveling in this whole thing, and I'm really not, because everyone just like me grew up on the WWE. For most of us that are wrestling fans, WWE was our childhood for the most part. So it's not to say I don't like the WWE. It's not to say I hate the WWE. But I do hate what it's become. I do hate the decisions they continue to make repeatedly, verbatim, to continue to think that this is some type of quality, quote unquote, entertainment. And I use those quotes very, very heavily. Um, Raw just went off the air about 20 or so minutes ago. And boy, oh boy, I gotta tell you, it's almost like Vince McMahon. He knows that the XFL is coming next year, and we'll get to the XFL news in a matter of moments. But it almost feels like the WWE and Vince McMahon have officially really given up in terms of putting on an entertaining television program. And they know, especially Vince knows, that he's gonna put all his focus on the XFL next year. And it's like, okay, well, WWE might as well. They already have the brand recognition, they have the legacy, so it's going to be sold off anyways to some sort of big company in the next 20 to 30 years. You might as well get as much investment as you can out of it. which is the wrong approach to go by. But that's the approach that the WWE is unfortunately taking. I do want to read about the stories here. I do want to read certain news articles about these record low ratings from the WWE this past week. I will head first of all to the Wrestling Observer, Figure Four Online. Dave Meltzer pinning this whole thing here, stating WWE Raw ratings hit a non-holiday record low, and I want to read to you some of the things that are of interest here. Raw set yet another all-time modern low outside of football season last night with 2.16 million viewers. The show only beat episodes this past New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve for the record low mark. What's really scary is this was a 9% drop from the record non-football season low of 2.37 million viewers that was set last week. So this is a trend. This is a downward trend that continues to look for the bottom as it continues to free fall from past glory. That's what you're dealing with here. Meltzer continues here. Last night's Raw from last week saw a strong 18.8% first to third hour drop, falling just under 1.9 million viewers. That's right. The third hour of Raw, which does pretty much awful anyways, but this one in particular did a 1.9 million viewers overall. You know, a lot of people make fun of the CM Punk era and the Daniel Bryan era as those guys not being able to draw ratings, or that period where it wasn't able to draw ratings. The WWE wishes they could have those ratings right now. They wish they can be able to have some sort of ratings portfolio that they can go and say to Fox as they head to October with SmackDown. This is our trend. It's upward. It's strong. It's consistent. This is why you made the right choice. I can guarantee you that Fox has buyer's remorse. You're talking about Fox. Out of the big four networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox itself, Fox, I believe, is known as the most out of those four to cancel shows, whether they're cult favorites or not. They are more quick to cancel shows if they do not meet a ratings threshold. And with the way that the WWE right now is trending with WWE Raw and now SmackDown, it is a telling sign that things are in dire straits. Just look at what happened tonight on Raw. You can't argue to me that Vince McMahon saw those ratings last week and said, oh my God, we got to get Roman Reigns here. We got to bring back Daniel Bryan. We got to have the WWE Champion Kobe Kingston here. We got to do this. We got to do that. If that was 3 hours of a man that was looking for every desperation maneuver possible to pray and hope that tomorrow night, when those ratings come in, they are no lower than they were last week. That is what we're witnessing here, folks. I'm not one of these people that are saying the WWE is going to go out of business, the WWE is going to go under. Not in my lifetime, probably not. But you're a fool to think that the WWE cannot be vulnerable to these sustainable ratings, because they're not sustainable. You are a fool to think that the WWE can't be able to suffer some sort of greater pasture in the forms of a buyout, in the forms of maybe Vince no longer being in operations anymore. And as much as he deserves to be out of operations at this point, a lot of people that are trying to bank their hard-earned cash on Triple H running it and making it better are just as foolish as thinking Vince McMahon deserves to stay there. I'm sorry. That's the way things are right now. And before anyone tries to use the NBA playoffs as an excuse, as Meltzer continues here, worse, the traditional pattern is that the decline is just starting and will get worse until the NBA playoffs. Because it went against that playoff game between the Warriors and the Rockets, and it did a 3.83 million viewers. Even though it beat out the NHL playoffs on the NBC Sports Network, which did a 1.18, that's nothing compared to what the NBA playoffs usually do. And there was a time when WWE, Raw, and SmackDown were not affected by any NBA sporting outing. They would not be affected by the NBA playoffs. Now we're in the point here in 2019 where the WWE can't even beat round 1 or even round 2 playoff games. That's sad. Very sad. And hell, the NBA playoffs, they're down 18.3% from last year. So you can't excuse the NBA being the reason why they're taking away all these wrestling fans. It's not about cord cutting. It's not about internet optimization. It's not about this sporting outing being on the same night as WWE Raw or SmackDown. It's just a simple fact that you have screwed your fans over and over, week after week, month after month, year after year, and all the chickens now have come over to roost. Now you no longer have a crutch anymore to pull out of your hat. They had to bring out Vince tonight. I bet you that no longer is a strong trait to have anymore. Because even Vince isn't that good anymore, as evidenced by tonight's Raw, apparently. So the 3 hours from last week, 2.34 million viewers for the first hour, 2.24 viewers for the second hour, 1.9 million viewers. It finally went under 2.0 million viewers for the third hour. Something's got to be done. And I get it because I do also look into the stock analysis and everything. I know, record revenue, and I'm sure that they're going to get a lot of boost from their stock portfolio at the end of the year because of the Fox deal and the Saudi Arabia deals. I get all that. I really do. But even then, they were expected to make a certain deficit around under a million, and they made $18 million in deficit from the first quarter hour. From the first quarter of their stock, of their earnings revenue. This is bad. This is very bad, and I don't know what to do to stop it. The only thing you can do is to continue to put on a consistently great, entertaining television show, and then hopefully, maybe you can get some of those casuals to come back and give it a second chance. But right now, 2010 was a bad year. I'm talking about me personally. 2010 wasn't a good year for WWE, in my opinion. And even when you had hope of the Nexus, that ultimately went to shit too. 1995. Even though as a kid I was enthralled by Bret Hart and Diesel and Shawn Michaels, looking back as an adult now, there wasn't a lot of good stuff. Quite frankly, 1995 resembles right now, that we're at right now. A lot of great athleticism, a lot of great matches, a lot of great opponents going back and forth, but nobody's watching. There's no larger than life characters like that anymore. There's no sense of urgency. There's no not edginess, but there's no maturity with storytelling and TV producing. There's nothing like that anymore with WWE. All you're looking forward to with Raw and SmackDown is two things. One, hopefully your favorite has a great match every week, and two, hopefully your favorite wins the big title. That's it. Because honestly, what can you tell me right now? Right now, what can you tell me that you're looking forward to in terms of the favorite wrestlers that you have from WWE? It's sad and it's depressing, but it's not surprising, honestly. And going to SmackDown Live, SmackDown Live, they're about to be picked up by Fox in October. Fox expects SmackDown Live to consistently have 3.3 to 3.8 million viewers every single week. Yeah, I said what I said. Every single week. They are expecting WWE SmackDown to have 3.3 to 3.8 million viewers. I don't know what to say about that. I really don't. Because with the way the product is right now, and I'm going to read this from SB Nation here, reporting SmackDown's ratings from last week. The Blue Brand's April 30th episode only drew 1.8 million viewers, basically. Down 239K from last week, and now even lower than its recent Christmas and New Year's Day episodes. It says it's the smallest audience since the show went live on Tuesdays 3 years ago, and it's also the worst number SmackDown has ever had on the USA Network. Come on, enough. Come on, some of you geeks and WWE shills and marks, you guys gotta sometimes just admit that you're not right. Sometimes the WWE is just wrong. Sometimes the WWE isn't the be-all, end-all. Because here's the situation you see yourself with. You still got New Japan looming around with their U.S. expansion. We got a resurgence right now in Impact Wrestling going on, and we'll talk about Rebellion later on in the show. You've got a budding and fresh league or promotion in All Elite Wrestling. Double or Nothing is in less than 30 days here. And I'm not one of these AEW geeks either that are saying, oh, they're going to take WWE down, they're going to crush them, they're going to do all this, there's going to be competition. pump the brakes here. I'm not buying all that. But what I am buying is that AEW seems very motivated. Going by what certain parties within that promotion are saying, they seem very game to have another wrestling boom and it be started by them. Excuse me. I don't think it's going to be the case, but I do like the enthusiasm and I do like the fact that there are fans out there that even though they take it too far sometimes, there are enthusiasm with fans that are looking for a true alternative. WCW's gone. Although Impact Wrestling has resurged itself to be a really fine program, there is no more of a TNA. They've fallen way below than what they used to be. So now AEW is the next one up to bat. And the question being is that if AEW starts getting traction, if they really start making noise, if they really start doing a lot of things good, if they sign a couple of free agents out there that can put them over that next level, if they actually get that rumored Turner deal or rumored Warner Media deal, whether it's TNT or TBS, if they start doing all those kinds of things and start getting the locomotive moving, I'm not saying the WWE is going to be defeated or anything or going to be taken down, but they should be a little worried. They should be very worried. Because all throughout these years in recent past, WWE has been trying to become a monopoly within the wrestling business. And it's very clear as day that's what they continue to do when it comes to pro wrestling. They want to be the only game in town. Some will argue that they already are. But you get what I'm saying. You already have British wrestling get on their knees and bow down to the mighty feet of the McMahons with Progress and ICW, pretty much giving themselves up to WWE so they can use all the British talent, or at least the elite ones, quote unquote, for NXT and NXT UK. There's even rumors that WWE is trying to make it NXT Japan, which I hope fails miserably, and I don't even think it's going to work. But that's how egotistic and that's how condescending WWE is. They think they can just put an NXT in Japan and think they can just try to run the town over a New Japan or an All Japan or a Noah or a Dragon Gate. It's not going to happen. But that's easier said than done. It's just, we look at Raw tonight. Vince McMahon comes out. Let's talk about something here. 3 weeks ago, or almost a month, you just initiated the Superstar Shakedown. Raw stars going to SmackDown, SmackDown stars going to Raw. So you're still continuing with this brand split that clearly hasn't worked. Okay, fine. It is what it is, but fine. So a mere 3 weeks later, after doing all that, after promoting it, after making it a big deal, after it being the thing that's going to change the company to greater heights to get them back on track, 3 weeks later, here tonight, you've essentially said screw it, gave up, and put a clause in there that is so lazy and contrived that it hurts my intelligence. A wild card initiative? Wait, you're meaning to tell me, so a Raw guy goes to SmackDown, but then there's a good chance that he might be on Raw at some point. And vice versa with SmackDown stars to Raw, Raw to SmackDown, whatever. And this is a good thing? This is what the desperation ploy of Vince McMahon is? Because they knew they were looking at that WWE Raw roster, and they were looking at it, and with the way the number was produced last week with record low ratings, Vince and WWE looked at that and said, oh my God, we really have nobody. Because face the facts, folks, let's just call it as we see it. I'm not blaming one particular superstar. There's a lot of factors that go into ratings being so low. I get all that, but let's just talk about it from this context. Let's face facts, folks. Seth Rollins is not the guy, and he never was the guy. It was 2015 that Seth Rollins was the WWE champion, and that was one of the worst world title reigns that I've ever witnessed, that I ever seen. He had the worst world title reign out of all the Shield members. Period. Roman's was better. Dean's was better. So you give it to him again, and look, and lo and behold, same old, same old. Seth Rollins just isn't the guy. He can be an integral player. He can be one of the integral top players of your brand, but having the brand surround him, no. I'm sorry. It doesn't work. It's not working. Again, you bring AJ Styles over to SmackDown, and it's just him and Rollins feud over the WWE title. And for what? For why? Why do I care? Why should I care? Because they're both great wrestlers and it's a dream. Who cares? I'm not saying you can't do that storyline here and there, but you gotta make it mean something. You gotta make sure there's a history and a purpose behind it. Not to toot my own horn here, but let's look at Akuma and Sagat this upcoming Friday at Animania 5. Their whole feud is about respect, but there's history that goes behind that story, and there's a purpose and resolve for both men. As Father Time is catching up for both of them, as there's a new age of CAW coming in the waning distance, all these new cats in ACW are claiming spots quickly and fast. It could be one, or if not both of their swan songs. So they're going to prove that who is the greatest fighter between the two. Brilliant! I'm saying it's brilliant. You don't have to agree, but that's not that hard is what I'm getting at here. It's not that hard. And WWE continues to make it hard for themselves, therefore they have to do twice as much to ultimately get half of the benefits for it, if not at all. So, there's that. Becky Lynch, look, it's time to get the titles off her. It's time. It's not working. The experiment failed. It's not working. You had your moment at WrestleMania, and even then that WrestleMania moment was botched. Who? And also, Becky's getting exposed, too. And I've been noticing it for months, even before WrestleMania. But now people are starting to catch up now. Now people are starting to realize, Becky Lynch isn't all that great as she or the WWE proclaims her to be. And before anyone says, well, why did you support her in the first place? I supported the road for her to get to the spot. And her and Ronda Rousey should have been the main event. But after they had to be contrived, involve the Authority, add Charlotte, put both women's titles on the line, and then that just underperforming match at WrestleMania, it's effectively cooled Becky off. It's effectively ruined her momentum pretty much. She can be over in the arenas. But what the hell does that matter when you're not even drawing a full crowd on these buildings? What the hell does it matter if the ratings are saying that we're not watching? Look at the thing. The WWE gave you Becky Lynch as world champion for both. They gave you Seth Rollins as one of your world champions. They gave you Kofi Kingston as your WWE world champion. They're not even using Brock Lesnar. They're not using Taker. They're not using Cena. Okay? All of this, and people are watching less now than they were before that. Someone's got to tell me what's going on here. Either somebody's lying or somebody's just faking selective outrage to try to pressure WWE to make booking decisions that don't make sense to the casual audience's mind. And it looks like that's what I'm seeing here. So Becky, I don't know if she's dropping one of the belts. She should drop both of them, quite frankly. She's more of a chaser than an achiever. Sorry, that is what it is. It's the same reason why Stone Cold was better as a chaser than an achiever. It drew more. So, Becky had her run. Becky had her moment at Mania. Now it's time to get the titles off her. So, there's that. Kofi Kingston. I love the moment, obviously, for obvious reasons at WrestleMania. But, again, it was just a knee-jerk reaction from the crowd to do something and pressure them to doing something that you normally or originally wouldn't have done. If you were going to do this moment, quite frankly, Big E should have probably been the guy in this spot. But then again, he got injured, so it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Hell, it should have been Bobby Lashley, too. Quite frankly, after the way you've ruined Bobby Lashley since he returned to WWE, you might as well start over and make Bobby Lashley a dominator, especially now that he's not going to have a mouthpiece on his side anymore in Lio Rush. And we'll probably get into that later in the show as well. But that's not working either. Basically, what I'm telling you is this, WWE. Your shows suck. The quality of your shows are abysmal. Your writers are uncreative, and your micromanaging is suffocating your brand. And I know you got a lot of yes men in your company. It is what it is. It is pro wrestling after all. But at some point, you can't point your fingers and blame certain people here and there. At some point, you got to blame yourself. And we're heading to summer right now, and these are the ratings at the moment. We're heading to SummerSlam apparently at the moment, or at least the road to SummerSlam here. Football season hasn't started yet. We're close to the NBA Finals as well. Game of Thrones are having their series finale at Money in the Bank. Who the hell's idea was that to book Money in the Bank on the same night as the series finale of Game of Thrones? Whose idea was that? Stupid. So, so here's the thing. WWE's suffering right now, and until they can address and fix certain things about why they're suffering, it is just going to be what it is, and they're just going to keep letting things go to the wayside that it shouldn't. But they only brought this on themselves. It's not the fans' fault, and I know some of us fans get a lot of shit, and rightfully so, for the way we act and the way we respond to things. But at some point, the company has to take initiative and say, okay, we're not doing things the right way. I do like the fact that Triple H did like a fan on Twitter complaining about Vince and the way he's running the company at the moment, and Triple H, like a little girl, liked it on Twitter. And it's like, you people, as much as you give shit for Vince McMahon for being senile and out of touch, and Lord knows he is, you're expecting Triple H to be the answer? This man's ego will not allow this company to be great if he doesn't say it's great. He won't allow it. So, just keep that in mind. So yeah, those are the ratings for WWE right now. Abysmal, just terrible. And tomorrow, it may get a slight bump because Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan and Vince were there, but that's no guarantee that things are looking up the wayside. There's no guarantee that anything's going to come out of this. It's just a knee-jerk reaction because that's what the WWE has been doing for damn near at least a decade now. So, with that said, we head on to the next big news that came out of WWE, but not really WWE, and that is the XFL. The XFL is coming next year, folks. It's the alternate of the National Football League, apparently. Obviously, everyone knows about the debacle that it was in the early 2000s. And it looks like the XFL is being started up again by Vince McMahon and Alpha Entertainment. They're looking to start things over again. And we got the big news earlier this morning that the XFL has announced their schedule for next year. And I'm going to go ahead and read Sports Illustrated's article about it by Scooby Axton. Basically, it stated this, that the XFL will be broadcasting half of their games on ABC and Fox, with the other games being broadcasted on ESPN. It was announced on Monday. The Spring Football League hopes to do better than its predecessor, the Alliance of American Football, which shut down its operations last month and faces a lot of lawsuits, which is very true. Vince McMahon made a statement about this very much so. He said that we are thrilled to partner with ESPN and Fox Sports, two innovative media companies with extensive experience in world-class football production that will undoubtedly help us reimagine football. The XFL broadcast schedule provides us with incredible reach and makes it easy for fans to watch our games consistently every weekend. So, a little bit more into detail here. There will be no rights fees paid by the networks, which is very telling. But both ESPN and Fox will hold the streaming rights to games and will handle cross-promotion plus the selling of advertisements. So basically, in layman terms, we're not going to pay you for these rights, but we'll at least do our diligence to promote it and share it across our platforms. And we'll also own the streaming rights to those games as well, should something go wrong. So, let me see if I can find something else here. The XFL season will start on February 8th, which will be 6 days, basically a week after the Super Bowl next year. It'll be held at Hard Rock Stadium in Florida. Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, New York, St. Louis, Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Washington, D.C. have already been awarded franchises for the XFL, excuse me, duh. And two broadcast games will be live that day, with the first being shown on ABC and the night version being shown on Fox, plus ESPN, ESPN2, and FS1 will show broadcast games throughout the season. and that's that. So that's where the big news is for XFL today. That's where it stands right now. They've been announcing head coaches and general managers throughout the weeks for these past few months. Now they're starting to put things into motion by getting a schedule set, so that way we can figure out what the hell schedule it's going to be next year. I will say this: I know there's a lot of doubts. There's a lot of criticism. There's a lot of skepticism about the XFL returning, and trust me, there are a lot to dissect. But I gotta say, they are handling this way better than they did the first time around. There has been no WWE involvement with this XFL relaunch. They are separating the XFL from wrestling, period. I doubt you'll see any wrestling personalities there. Maybe a rare occasion once or twice, not excluding Vince McMahon, obviously. But it's clear that Vince McMahon is all in, no pun intended, on this project. He is all in on this relaunch for the XFL. If you want my personal perspective about it, though, it does open my mind a bit more as to why Fox was more lenient to take SmackDown now coming in October. Because Fox needs the live programming. They do. ESPN, they're building their ESPN Plus app. So they're getting or trying to get as much content on that streaming app as possible with the UFC, with Golden Boy boxing, with the NBA, obviously, with Monday Night Football. So they're trying to get things done with that. Um, and obviously, ABC being owned by the Disney Corporation, Disney on a rampage, buying everything to sight, buying Marvel, Star Wars, ABC, and now have bought 20th Century Fox. So they own certain properties that were transferred over from the Fox deal. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out and works. Now, do I suspect this full schedule will see itself through? I do. I do think we'll get a full. I do think we'll get a full schedule next year. I do think that. What I do envision seeing happening though is that the NFL are going to try to find certain ways behind the scenes to try to undermine and undercut the XFL from even launching. As you saw from the AAF last month, the expenses were starting to be bigger than the profit, and they had to shut down a lot of their operations. They are no longer in operations, and a lot of football players, staff members, coaches have filed lawsuits on the AAF for unpaid royalties and unpaid, money. So XFL, I'm sure, is probably learning from the AAF's mistakes here and is going to try to structure their football league better. I don't mind the XFL back in a sense that people are looking for an alternative with the NFL right now because the NFL in itself right now is not the strongest it's ever been in compared to recent years. So I don't mind XFL being an alternative. Just like with wrestling, I don't mind an Impact or or an AEW or an MLW or whatever those promotions are, Ring of Honor. I don't mind those leagues existing so they can be alternatives for wrestling fans if they don't enjoy this conglomerate that is a WWE. The same way I am here with the NFL. Just like with the NBA, if you don't enjoy the NBA, Ice Cube's running the big three, albeit from veterans and other I don't want to call them has-beens, but like underperforming players of their times. But it's a good little league there. So we'll see how the XFL success goes. We'll see how the XFL transitions as we get closer to February 8th next year. I do suspect that Vince McMahon will take more time and focus on the XFL, obviously, than the WWE. I mean, it's not like there's really any difference right now, but I do see it that next year you're going to start to see more involvement from Steph and Triple H, more so Steph than Triple H. I keep telling people that Triple H is not going to run the company. It's going to be Steph. It is Steph. Okay? Every generation of McMahon has run the WWE, whether it's Capital Wrestling, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the WWF, now WWE. Every McMahon has run that promotion. It's not going to change anytime soon. It just happens to be Steph. It was supposed to be Shane. Shane left. We all know the story, so it became Steph. Steph is running the company. So all this nonsense that you're seeing right now in the company, you know who to blame, is all I'm saying. So, XFL is a good alternative for the NFL, in my opinion. Speaking of alternatives, though, however, going back to pro wrestling, WWE, you know, there's a lot of people not happy with the WWE right now, whether it be fans, whether it be writers, apparently, whether it be wrestlers themselves. One of those men that were apparently unhappy was the former Dean Ambrose. As everyone knows, Dean Ambrose had his final television appearance or final appearance with the WWE at the Shield's Final Chapter event on the WWE Network, which was 2 weeks ago. And then on May 1st was when his WWE contract was officially null and void, meaning he is now a free agent. And I believe 5 minutes after midnight on May 1st, when he became a free agent, a little video package dropped on the Twitter name of John Moxley. John Moxley, excuse me, making a return on the Twitter, if you will, the Twitter, and releasing a minute and a half video. And I will tell you this right now, I was hyped. I have no idea what's it for. You can make your speculations all you want. All I'm saying is that I saw that video package, and that video package did more for Dean Ambrose, now John Moxley. That did more for him than most of his main roster title run that didn't involve the Shield. That's how great that segment was. That's how great that video was. I mean, look at the imagery. I am a movie buff. I like to. I love movies, but I like to also study movies and how things are structured and how actors are able to put things into place here. I love this video just for the simple fact that you can just look at the symbolism of the video. Moxley's in a prison, which would be WWE, obviously. He's counting down the days till, those markings on the wall, obviously counting down his days so he can be a free agent. You've got a guard watching over Moxley, which ended up looking like a good resemblance of Seth Rollins himself. Dean escapes, bloodied, with barbed wire on his arm. There's a big dog chasing him, and no, that's not a reference. That's not a reference to Wave. That's more of a reference to Roman Reigns. So that, and then obviously he's boxing in a dojo, and then, I mean, I'm sure people already pointed out already, but he passes by a painting of some dice, and the dice showed the numbers 2 and 5, or at least the dotted 2 and 5. So a lot of people speculated that that could have been a reference to the upcoming Double or Nothing on May 25th with All Elite Wrestling. I don't know where he's going. There's been some strong rumors these past few days or hours that he might even sign with Impact Wrestling. That's also another thing that's been reported this week as well. So, quite frankly, let's put it in perspective. John Moxley, the former Dean Ambrose, is the hottest free agent, the biggest free agent in the world right now. He is. So whoever's able to pick him up, whoever's able to get him, is going to earn the lottery, is going to win the lottery big. Now, again, like I prefaced earlier, I'm not an AEW fanboy or anything like that. If you are, more power to you, but I'm not there fully yet. There's still certain skepticism that I have with the promotion that I need to see play out before I make any reservations to think this is a real deal. That just is what it is. Having said all that, if AEW were able to acquire John Moxley, right, that's a huge coup for them. Because that would just tell wrestlers within the WWE that are disgruntled, the likes of Sasha Banks, the likes of apparently Rusev, the likes of The Revival, the likes of Gallows and Anderson, or even higher than those guys. It would tell talents in the WWE that, and I'm sure a lot of fans already realized this years ago, but now wrestlers themselves that can finally realize that the WWE is not the be-all, end-all for your career in wrestling. That you can make big money elsewhere that doesn't have to be with a WWE contract to your name. So, AEW has a big chance here. They came out at the right time. And I'll say it in the sense that they see the WWE Shield, no pun intended, has some cracks in the armor. And All Elite Wrestling, despite having the cons, which, let's be honest, they are money marks here in this instance, but they do have the money. They're playing big money here. They are right now scouting and sending feelers that we can sign you for big money if you sign with us, and if you leave the WWE, and you can still sign with us and make reasonable money close to that. So what AEW needs to do, and I'm sure everyone heard Cody say that, we're only going to sign 5% of WWE people if half of them leave or whatever. Cody's lying. Cody's a liar. Okay, Cody's a mark, and Cody's a worker too. This is still a carny business, and certain things that Cody has said throughout the years since leaving WWE have led me to believe, like, okay, he's full of his own BS. So don't take his words for granted at face value. What I will, because let's be honest, if Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles all left WWE and said they had interest in AEW, you're telling me you're not going to sign all of them at that moment? You're not telling me, if since you have the money, that you wouldn't sign all of those four men, and knowing the draw power or relative draw power that they would have for your company? Exactly. Just stop. Stop. But John Moxley also has been looked upon as someone that could also go to Impact Wrestling. Obviously, his best friend there, Sammy Callahan, and the OVE crew are over there at Impact Wrestling. Obviously, everyone knows about the Callahan Moxley relationship with Switchblade Conspiracy back in the CZW days. So, the point being is that nobody knows for sure what's going to happen with John Moxley. We may not even know if this video that he released last week is produced by AEW or Impact, or if it's for a wrestling promotion he's going to, or if this means he's going to wrestle, or if, and I've heard this too as well, that WWE is producing these videos because it's a work that Dean Ambrose slept, but John Moxley's coming to WWE. There's a lot of speculation. All I know is that people are talking. A lot of people are talking about one man here in John Moxley that left the WWE and now has the whole world in his hands. He now can make whatever deals and whatever leverage he can possibly have. That's power that many WWE talents should concern themselves with. Excuse me. Wow, excuse me. That's power that a lot of WWE talents should be aware of and probably want to be enticed with. I will say this right now. If you are a disgruntled WWE wrestler and your contract is coming up, knowing damn well they're trying to re-sign you for, I believe now, 4 to 5 years to stay with the company, and you're looking at All Elite Wrestling, the potential that could have, if you're planning to re-sign, you're probably stupid. I'm sorry. I mean, just look at Raw tonight and what happened to the Revival. It's no doubt in my mind. It's very clear to me that the Revival are getting embarrassed on their way out, because they did reject, I believe, $500,000 deal to re-sign with the WWE for 5 years last month, and they declined. They rejected it. So they do plan on leaving. So WWE, knowing how they are and how petty that they are, and knowing what kind of grudges that they hold, they're gonna embarrass the Revival until they're finally out of here, so they can have less drawing power, which is stupid now in 2019. Yeah, I got that in some sense back in the 90s and even early 2000s. You would want to job a guy out on his way out and humiliate and embarrass them, so that way when they go to another promotion, they would have no credibility, they would have no buzz into their name entering another league. But it's stupid now. Everybody knows the potential the Revival have when they're not shackled with WWE creative. Everyone knows that. We don't have to look far with NXT and what they do with the American Alphas. So everyone knows the potential the Revival have. Everyone knows the talent Sasha Banks is, and the fact that all these people are going after Sasha Banks because she doesn't want to come back to work. Now, granted, you have a contract to commit to. I get that. I understand that. You do have to adhere to the contract. But if you feel like your worth is not being valued, bounce, leave. And that's what Sasha apparently is thinking. Like, she feels that she's not going to be treated any more favorable than she could have been. And that even if she wins the title, it's going to be all for naught. And I can't blame her. How can I blame her? I got the likes of Booker T out here saying that Sasha Banks shouldn't be complaining about creative. Dude, weren't you the same dude that had to do a King Booker gimmick, as entertaining as it was, but you had to do a King Booker gimmick to become world champion. You couldn't be Booker T. They had to give you a King Booker gimmick so that you can be somewhat of a world champion. They couldn't even give you the WWE title. They gave you the secondary world title, the World Heavyweight Championship. Weren't you the same dude that stood there backstage when Vince McMahon strolled by you and said, "What's up, my N-word"? Wasn't that you that just allowed that to happen? You couldn't just reject that and say, "I don't want to be a part of that." Was that you? So you're okay with allowing yourself to be humiliated. And granted, you're getting paid for it. I get it, but You're okay with being allowed to humiliate yourself. But when Sasha Banks doesn't want to be humiliated, you're gonna chastise her. This business is just so trite with a lot of this hypocrisy and double speak and virtue signaling. It's annoying, you know. And I might as well get to Leo Rush too at this point too. Leo Rush obviously revealing some things to Fightful.com, and as much as I have their grudges with Fightful and that geek sap, he was able to interview Leo Rush, and Leo Rush pretty much basically said that he's getting paid a certain amount and he's not able to provide enough for his family and even for himself when he goes to hotels, has to pay his own travel, yada yada yada. On one end, look, dude, as someone that dabbled into wrestling myself, there are certain traditions that you have to abide to. I get it, they're not great. They're pretty much archaic. They're insulting, but that is the culture that you have to assimilate yourself into to move forward. It just is what it is. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That's just what it is. But on the second part, look, this is a grown dude. He doesn't work for any of the superstars. He works for Vince McMahon. At the end of the day, he doesn't owe anyone to do anything. You can carry your own damn bags. You can get your own damn water. You can pay your own travel. It shouldn't be up to him being called up to the main roster to do that for you. That's just a lot of old wrestling traditional carnyism that will never die, and which is why wrestling is not as appeasing to the casuals today because we're just still doing stupid shit like that. Having said that, though, it's very clear that talent is disgruntled. I do feel like the Revival are leaving. Just by the way that they're being booked, they were given the Raw Tag Team titles to stay. They still had intention to leave, so they took it away from that WrestleMania at the pre-show, and then are now going to humiliate them on their way out. So that you pretty much know where that's going to go. Sasha, I believe she signed a contract last year, so she's got to fulfill her commitments till I believe next year. I think it was a 2 year extension, so she's got to fulfill her deeds till next year. And with the way she's missing time, WWE might very well add more time to that contract that she missed. So it's gonna be a while for Sasha unless she can find some way to get out of it. Not Luke Gallows. Luke Harper, excuse me, requested his release. Not only was it denied, but they added more time to his contract. It's just, if talent doesn't want to be there, don't hold them hostage. I'm not saying that they are fully really hostage. I mean, they did sign the dotted line. I mean, no one put the gun to their head. They chose to sign. I get it. But if they want to leave and they're not going to provide you what you're looking for, they're not going to provide the level that you're looking for or what they're going to want to give you, then let them leave. I go. But see, the reason why they're not going to do it though, like they would have done past years, is because the AEW thing is looming. Again, I don't think they're a threat, but I do believe that AEW is starting to become a nuisance to the WWE to where they got to keep all their chickens in line, to put it in a certain phrase. Um, so, John Moxley, going back to him, who knows where he's going to go? Who knows what will happen with him? Who knows what his next move is going to be? All I do know, though, however, is that John Moxley is the hottest free agent out there, and he can pretty much leverage on anything he wants. And whoever catches him, hopefully utilizes him to the best of their abilities, to where it's not a repeat of his WWE main roster run. Anyways, moving on to another promotion here. Impact Rebellion happened this past Sunday, I believe. No, the Sunday before this Sunday. So, 2 Sundays ago. There you go. All right. Okay. So Impact Rebellion happened. I'm not going to review the whole card. I just want to, give you some takeaways of the show, if you will. First things first. Man, the Rebel Complex looks beautiful. It really does. I thought it was a good show. I don't think it was better than Slammiversary last year, but again, that was such a great show. I didn't expect that to be the case. But another solid show. The Callis era, the Don Callis era of Impact has been 5 for 5 in my opinion with pay-per-views. I and now that they've launched or relaunched their redesigned Global Wrestling Network into now Impact Plus, it's more sleeker now. It's more powerful. Now doing monthly or now even bi-monthly live event touring. They're touring again basically. They're signing more talents to now longer contract deals, so that way there's now more stability with the company. They're apparently getting more money now than they were losing from 2 years ago. That's how the Impact Plus app, apparently, from reports of PW Insider, even happened or occurred. So basically, Impact Wrestling are starting to become a wrestling promotion again. They're no longer just a obscure promotion that's just there to provide a TV show slot. No, no, no. They're resurging back into a wrestling promotion that does live touring, that's doing merchandise, that's producing weekly television or weekly Twitch shows, that are doing pay-per-views now more often. They're signing more talents to longer deals to create stability. They're earning more money now. Impact right now, I think people are sleeping on them. I think, to me, like I've stated last time, they are the best wrestling promotion on television, or the best wrestling promotion in that sense in North America. I do believe that. I think Impact is the best right now overall in terms of that. I believe that. And yes, that does include NXT as a TV show as well. So yeah. But anyways, back to Rebellion. Yeah, the Rebel Complex looked great. A couple match takeaways here. First things first. That was a fun opening three-way, but opening six-way, excuse me, with the X Division stuff on the line and all that stuff. Ace Austin looks like he's gonna be a legit star, if not for Impact, but probably for some other promotion in the near future. I know that he does some work on MLW as well, so Ace Austin has a bright upside. Hopefully they build something out of him. I do see a future X Division champion in his future, X Division title reign in his future. Excuse me. Also, I want to talk about the Moose and North teaming up to take on the Rascals. Another fine six-man encounter. The Rascals are a fun team to watch, period. The North are that gritty powerhouse team that I do like in a tag team. I'm a big fan of tag team wrestling, so I do like seeing that. Moose, always entertaining in and out of the ring. And as a fellow Nigerian, I have to kind of support him anyway, so, Moose is great. Moose is great. I do want to talk about the two big matches really that really stole the show on this event. But I also want to talk about the World Heavyweight title situation, which was Johnny Impact versus Brian Cage. It was a really solid back and forth until Brian Cage got hurt. Trust me. Again, I've dabbled into wrestling before. I know what it looks like when I see someone have a concussion. Brian Cage, probably from that Spanish Fly from Johnny Impact, probably got the concussion from there, and you can clearly see that Johnny Impact was coaching him verbally to get to certain spots here and there. Him and Lance Storm were coaching Brian Cage to finish the match. And to Brian Cage's credit, he did finish the match. Unfortunately, it just affected the match quality. Brian Cage is a new champion, but right now he's currently hurt. He wasn't able to appear on the Impact tapings this week in Toronto, and then later on this past weekend in Philadelphia. So hopefully, Brian Cage is healthy enough to where he'll come back for probably the New York tapings next month. But Brian Cage is a new champion. Michael Elgin makes his debut on Impact, and I know there's a lot of people that have their opinions on Michael Elgin as a person, definitely as a wrestler, but as a person for sure. A lot of people have their opinions that are conflicting. All I'm gonna say is this: Do I think Michael Elgin has some sort of piece of shitness into him? Of course, I do. But you gotta understand, this is professional wrestling. A lot of these people are pieces of shit. Some just hide it better. And trust me, I've seen these things take place backstage, okay? There are some really apprehensible people out there as wrestlers. Some that you wouldn't even expect if you didn't know them behind the screen. So Michael Elgin isn't the first and he won't be the last. That said, if Michael Elgin is very proper. If Michael Elgin can be able to keep himself in check, if Michael Elgin can be able to um, put himself in a way to where he doesn't look like a complete ass, I'm fine with him being there because credit to Impact Wrestling, they have been able to deal with a lot of troublemakers that the former TNA regime just wouldn't have been able to do. I mean, you saw last year with Alberto El Patron and the way he was drunk to where he is no longer with the company. That affected the Rebellion. Let me sorry, Rebellion, the Redemption main event last year. But all things considered, they moved on. Um, Austin Aries and his whole deal at Bound for Glory last year. Everyone knows about that. Um, yeah, it's Impact's been able to hold these very well together. So I have all the faith in the world that even if Michael Elgin gets out of line, that Impact will be able to rein him in. And I think as long as he's able to be reined in to where he doesn't make himself and the company look bad, and yet he's able to put on quality matches and quality character work and quality everything overall, I think people need to at least give them a an open mind here. You can trust me. Apparently, with one talent in particular from the Philadelphia tapings this past week, and they returned to Impact, I have my reservations as well with that as well. But again, the same rules apply with her. Oh, I kind of spoiled a little bit. The same things apply with her that I'm gonna make it apply with Michael Elgin. Again, as long as he or she is here for redemption, no pun intended, and is here to really redeem themselves in front of the company and to the wrestling fans, I don't see a problem with it. I mean, obviously, people deserve second chances. Otherwise, a lot of us here, including myself, would be judged for our past. So I just want to put that out there. But let's get to the nitty gritty and the tough titties. That did rhyme, but I said it anyways because it felt good. Anyways, that was weird. The two matches that to take away from Impact Rebellion. First things first. Tessa Blanchard versus Gail Kim in a match between the Knockouts past versus the Knockouts future. I'm gonna say this right now. One of the best women wrestling matches of the year so far. I said it on Twitter too that I thought Tessa Gale was bounds better than the WrestleMania main event between Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda. And I don't think anyone can really argue with me unless they're going to really just try to lie or troll. This is a great match. It was even more than a great match. The storytelling, the action itself, the character exposition between Tessa and Gail, how you can see Tessa was evolving from this cocky show off to slowly but surely wrestling out of respect for Gail Kim, who she thought didn't have it anymore. But as the match progressed, it was clear that Gail Kim can still go, and that this was not going to be an easy task for Tessa to go through. It was just brilliant in-ring storytelling that I swear to God we do not get a lot in mainstream professional wrestling these days. It was great, great stuff. Tessa wins, which was the right call. Gail tapping out clean was also something that I did not expect, but that did happen. Great match, absolutely great match. It seems like Gail Kim did pass the torch to Tessa Blanchard from one knockout era to another. It was just great. I can't even glow enough about it. I do believe this is one of the best matches from Impact, a match of the year contender for Impact, and quite frankly, one of the best women wrestling matches of the year. Quite frankly, I really think you can put that in the top 10 right now here in 2019. Um, and also great to see Tully Blanchard, dude. He can still talk with the best of them. Me being an admittedly horseman mark myself, it's just great seeing Tully being able to have that fire that he was when he was television champion back in the NWA, and his fuse with Magnum TA and Dusty. It's just great stuff. Um, yeah, this whole match worked. Tessa Blanchard could arguably be a top three best woman wrestler in the world right now. Gail Kim is a legend, shaped the face of women's wrestling, not just in TNA or Impact, but in wrestling in general, in my opinion. So that was going to be my match of the year for Impact so far. And then we get to the main event. And first things first, kudos to Impact Wrestling for having enough trust with their tag teams to where tag team wrestling, two legit teams I'm talking about, for a tag team title. Kudos to Impact for saying, you know what, we have enough faith in LAX and the Lucha Brothers. They're two of the best teams, arguably in the world. You know what? Screw it. For the tag team titles, Full Metal Mayhem, let's let them main event a pay per view. Kudos for Impact for doing that. Because I know tag team wrestling is a lost art if you let certain promotions tell you that. But this shows you why these two teams are arguably the best right now in wrestling. LAX, Santana and Ortiz challenges the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix for the Impact World Tag Team titles. Man, this is wild from the jump. These guys were flying everywhere. These guys were hitting hard. These guys are just showing a lot of energy and charisma that you like to see in a main event. Um, I just the move sets, the tag team maneuvers that they did once and back towards each other. I will say this right now. That Spanish Fly Phoenix did onto Ortiz on the table, where Phoenix almost damn near dropped his damn head and neck on that ramp, was one of the scariest moments I think I've ever seen as a wrestling fan, of recent memory at least. I legit turned my head around because I didn't even want to fully see the replay. I saw it the initial time, but when they showed the replay, I had to wince a little bit, like, oh my god! If he didn't rotate his shoulder, oh my god! That was sick, and not in a good way, really. But just that just shows you the dedication that these two teams have to put on the best match on any card that they're in. Um, Santana Ortiz win the match. They are now a four-time Impact Tag Team Champions. I think we gotta make the argument as well that this new incarnation of LAX, Ortiz and Santana, may be not only the best version of LAX, and that does include with Homicide and Hernandez, but they might very well be a top five tag team in Impact history. And I do believe also that they are the best, one of the best tag teams in the world, period. It's absolutely beautiful. Great stuff. Like I said, LAX win the titles once again. The Lucha Brothers and LAX celebrate with a hug with Conan, putting them together. The locker room comes out and celebrates the two teams. It seems to me that, going by certain recent reports from last week and then this week, that this could be the swan song for the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon and Phoenix, as rumors are that AEW are looking to sign them exclusively here in the United States. So that means they could still work in AAA and probably CMLL, but in terms of work in the US, they would be exclusive, or at least primarily exclusive, to All Elite Wrestling. So this could have very well been the final match with Phoenix and Pentagon together on Impact for the time being. So we'll see what that comes out from that. But again, a great main event. It deserved the spot. It should have main event, and it did, and it delivered on all fronts. Quite frankly, Rebellion was a very good mega pay per view. I almost said mega event. It was a very good pay per view. Kudos to the Impact team. A lot of people that are just saying that Impact is this and that are just going by past narratives, are just going by past feelings. You guys got to get over all that. You guys have got to let that go. This is a different regime. It's a different damn company at this point. All the troubles you may have once had are pretty much gone. This company's for real right now. 2019, Impact right now are making a resurgence that a lot of people need to quit sleeping on. So we'll see what comes of that. But again, they delivered. Impact also did some taping at the Toronto for one day. This following day on a Monday, they went to Philadelphia for the Philadelphia tapings this past weekend. I believe they did Code Red last night over in New York. They're out there right now. They're traveling. They're really just doing a lot of things that a wrestling promotion should be doing. They're resurging pretty hard right now. And I got to be honest, as long as nothing truly bad happens, as long as nothing comes out of it that where it could be an issue, Impact is doing some big stuff right now. It's about time a lot of you give them a second chance. And I know they've burned you before. I know they've made you doubt giving them a chance. I get it. Give them a chance. Honestly, give them a chance. I think they've well deserved it at this point. Just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but I do think they deserve it. That's just me. But anyways, I do want to talk about a little bit before we get to the Q&A portion of this whole thing. Kushida made his debut on NXT this past week, going one-on-one against Cassius Ono and defeating him. Kushida was rumored the second he left New Japan. He had his final match with Tanahashi, which I watched live because I was like, if out of all the people that I do fan a lot. Kushida's one of those consistent performers that I do love, that I do like to see when he's in the ring. So I did watch his NXT match. I'm not the biggest NXT fan, obviously, but I did watch his match. His entrance is magnificent, but then again, every Kushida entrance really is phenomenal. Let's be honest. And I do like the song that they gave Kushida. I hope he's keeping that. Having that said, and I hate to be this guy. Well, I kind of like it, but in this sense, I really hate to be this guy. But you know, you know that nothing is going to come out of this. I want to be very clear because I like Kushida and I like the things he does and I like the potential he always has. But you know, this is not going to amount to a damn thing. Call me cynical, call me pessimistic. You know I don't care. But what I am trying to tell you to a lot of people that are watching this right now with Kushida, that are really seeing what Kushida can do in NXT and WWE, I'm telling you to pump the brakes here. Nothing is going to happen. It just isn't. If they couldn't do it for Nakamura, if they're already screwing it up with Asuka, and then the other stuff with Hideo Itami, Taka Michinoku, you just Kenzo Suzuki, you just know Tajiri, you just know that this company just has no will or respect to show their Japanese or Asian wrestlers in general who they are or what they can do for them. I want to read a tweet that I saw on Twitter earlier today, and I retweeted it on my personal Twitter account. By the way, it's at Hakeem is winning. If you want to find out my personal Twitter account, it's at Hakeem Hakeem is winning with the G. So if you want to follow me, go ahead and follow me there. But I did retweet this guy who calls himself Platinum Luster Keys. A very innovative name, I must say so myself. But he retweeted that something about Asuka and Nakamura. He says that both of them win the Royal Rumble last year. They lose their title matches respectively at WrestleMania. They have a downward spiral booking. They win a championship but are barely featured on TV, obviously. Nakamura with the US title, Asuka with the SmackDown Women's title. They lose a title without any good storytelling. They're randomly put in a tag team. Nakamura with Rusev, Asuka with Kairi. And character and charisma is stripped away. And that is the best analysis I can ever give for Nakamura and Asuka at this point. They have royally screwed those two over. When they should be an easy as all hell silver platter to do something with. And they have royally ruined them on a main roster perspective. I know Nakamura is a shell of his former self anyways. I know that he's dealing with injuries from past matches from past years. I get all that. But this is the best you've got for him? Remember how people were trying to tell you that Nakamura's low blow gimmick when he was a heel was going to be something big for him? Remember how people were just trying to tell you to give them the benefit of the doubt that they were going to do something with Nakamura? And how did that turn out? You tell me. You tell me, people. How did that turn out? Had a disappointing match at WrestleMania with AJ Styles and a disappointing feud following after. Won a U.S. title that means absolutely nothing, and his title reign as a result meant nothing. Teams up with Rusev so that way they can have something for those two to do without wallowing in abyss. And then you got Asuka, a woman that was built properly on NXT, being the undefeated person that she should have came out as NXT Women's Champion, gets called up to the roster, the main roster, and you would think with Ronda Rousey coming in, I would build Asuka the same way to where you get the money match with Asuka and Ronda Rousey, which could potentially main event. Imagine that. But instead, because it's Charlotte Flair, because politics and nepotism abound, she loses her undefeated streak to Charlotte last year at WrestleMania. And then the weeks leading up to this year's WrestleMania, when Asuka is a SmackDown Women's Champion, although not doing anything with it, but regardless, she was going to have a match at WrestleMania. All of a sudden, Charlotte faces Asuka for that title and then beats her again. And now Charlotte's the SmackDown Women's Champion and takes it to that match with Becky and Ronda, while Asuka is pre-showing a Battle Royal? What? Huh? Are you kidding me? So Nakamura's doing a meaningless tag team with Rusev. Asuka is pre-show in WrestleMania. Heaven knows there will be no royalties for her either. That's how much you think of your Japanese talent in the WWE. And you've got the nerve to contemplate an NXT Japan. Excuse the hell out of me to think that you would have the balls to establish an NXT brand in Japan thinking you're going to run all Japan, Noah, Dragon Gate, West Wrestle 1, DDT, and especially New Japan out of the country? Are you kidding me? Yeah, sure, you might sign a Sonata, because that's the rumor going around right now. Sure, you might try to establish a partnership deal with Stardom to have women wrestle in your brand for NXT, like a Hana or like a Hazuki or a Starlight Kid, or even damn it, or even a Mayu probably at this point. But to have the arrogance and gall to think that an NXT Japan would do any damage to those promotions that have legacy with that country is damn near insulting. And I hope it fails. And that's why I get a lot of irritability with British wrestling because they allowed WWE and NXT to pretty much run their culture in terms of wrestling. Pretty much Progress and ICW and WXW over in Germany, they all bent the knee and said, we're going to give you all the talents for your NXT UK brand. Should it not work out, we have every right to buy your brand out. And you agree to it, you idiot? Holy, oh my god. I'm trying not to cuss too much this newscast. I'm trying to do that. But it's just things like that frustrate you. Because now WWE owns a monopoly with British wrestling now. When British wrestling was more self-sufficient to do it on their own. I don't see it happening with Japan. That's a different beast altogether. But it just irritates you to see how much there's so much potential with certain Japanese wrestlers and how they waste it. They wasted Kenta. They wasted Nakamura. They wasted Asuka. They're probably going to waste Kairi and Io. And you know they're going to waste Kushida. It sucks. It's sad. But what do you do? And yeah, Jeremy's right on the chat. WWE is GWM, just even worse. That's really what they are. And there was somebody here at the start of the year that predicted that WWE being the GWM of wrestling would be the best storyline of 2019. Who was that person? Who said that verbatim? And it's turning out even better than expected. Hakeem Adamas. Anyways, so that's all my news items for this episode of the newscast. We will get to the Q&A portion to where you can send in your questions and comments on the live chat, and I will read them and answer them. But I do want to talk about Animania 5. It is coming up this Friday. We are at Animania 5 week. As you all know, the start of Animania 5 week started tonight with this newscast. Tomorrow night will be the ACW GWM Super Show Showdown at Yokohama that was taped months ago, but will finally be shown on demand. UWL's own Jason Brown will be the commentator for that event, so make sure you guys show him some love. And by the way, also go ahead and subscribe over to UWL on YouTube and on BitChute. UWL obviously partnering with ACW now as our development league, as well as being its own promotion. But go ahead and follow them. But Jason Brown will be doing commentary for Showdown at Yokohama tomorrow night, and we will let you guys know what's going to go down there. You're going to have Queen Elizabeth taking on Mighty Yukiko. You're going to have Yellow Devil and Adon. There you go. I almost forgot. But those two, they'll be a team. They'll be taking on Ultraman Tiga and Kakashi Atake. You've also got Kevin Anderson will take on Soma Yukihara, and then obviously the main event will be Ichiko Kurosaki going 1-on-1 against Tiger the Dark. So that's going to be your Showdown Yokohama card. Make sure you guys check it out. It'll be available to all of you tomorrow night. And then Wednesday night will be the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate event. The Nintendo World Order, Las Vegas Link, Mario and Luigi will all be making a one-time only ACW appearance. They'll be taking on 2DK and Cloud Strife in the main event. We also got a Legends match between Sonic the Hedgehog and Mega Man. Sonic the Hedgehog, a ACW Hall of Famer, Mega Man, who will be a Hall of Famer by the end of this week. So those two will square off. Bayonetta will take on Lucina, both women that were a part of the Glamour X Element tournament this past year. They will be going at it one on one. Team Star Fox, Fox and Falco will take on the Belmonts and Simon and Richer, the newest additions to Smash. And also, Solid Snake will be taking on um, an opponent that you, the fans, decided to vote and choose. It was between Ryu, Captain Falcon, Roy, and Pit. But we'll find out which one you decide ultimately, and it'll be revealed on Wednesday, for the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate event, Then on Thursday, we are going to head to Los Angeles for ACW Direct. It'll be the calm before the storm, as it'll be the night before Animania 5. But I'll tell you this right now: ACW Direct is going to be a mega event in its own right. Really, you've got the match that's going to headline that show, which will conclude the Element tournament in the finals. We will crown our inaugural Element champion. It'll be Yoko Littner going one-on-one against Mikasa Ackerman. That is going to be a great battle between those two. They fought tooth and nail. They have clawed and scratched throughout these rounds, where a lot of people didn't think these two, especially even Yoko, but more so Mikasa too even, they didn't expect these two to be in the finals, but they are here. They went through 30 women to get this opportunity, and one of them are about to make history on Thursday by becoming the inaugural Element champion. Also, we're going to have Akira Kurusu, the newest addition to Super Smash Bros. In his own right, and the newest signing to ACW Impulse. He will be making his ACW in-ring debut. He will be taking on the Pride of Toronto, Canada's greatest export, in King JJ, which will sure to be a very interesting matchup with the way King JJ has been all throughout the season. Um, also, um, also we're going to have the Naturals with Ino and Ikumi. Excuse me, it's getting late. I'm getting a little tired. But Ikumi, Mito, and Yamanaka will be in handicap action, taking on Deanne, the Sin of Envy, in a handicap no DQ matchup. That's a lot of personal rivalries that'll be settled hopefully there. Hopefully Deanne will be looking for revenge in that matchup. Plus we got a UWL showcase to commemorate the UWL HW partnership. The UWL guys will be in the building this Thursday at HW Direct. It'll be the UWL Junior Heavyweight Champion Sly Cooper going one-on-one against the former Intercontinental Champion in Tiger the Dark. And Jason Brown will also be joining me for commentary for that UWL showcase. So make sure you guys check out the guys in action for that. Also, Kazuki Muto will take on Ibiki Tokai, two former tag team partners, now bitter rivals. We're going to see how that match goes on. So that's going to be the card. And also, I am here to also announce, and I'll make it official tomorrow morning, but I am here to announce here tonight that the Los Angeles Lakers' very own LeBron James is going to be at Direct. That's right, folks. LeBron James will be in LA for HW Direct this week. It was reported a couple months ago that we contacted LeBron and his team to see if he wanted to make an appearance for ACW. Well, we got that word back last year. I mean, not last year. Earlier this week, that LeBron James will be making an appearance for ACW Direct. So that's going to be a big coup as well. Also, I want to make the announcement that as we get closer to Animania 5 this coming Friday, that Grammy Award winning artist John Legend will be doing the opening ceremonies of the Star Spangled Banner for Animania 5. And that's what we get to. Animania 5 coming up this Friday night. 10 plus years in the making. The magnus opus of this league in general, where new things will begin and old things will close. It's going to be Animania 5 live from Los Angeles at the Staples Center. And the card is as it goes. For the XL Tag Team titles, it will be Night Raid, Wave and Lubak defending the titles against Aang and Ichigo. If Aang and Ichigo lose that match, then they will be out of world title contention next season. Now, can Aang and Ichigo, being named as the enemies of the state, are they going to be able to defeat Night Raid's long winning streak as XL Tag Team champions, or will Night Raid make history by becoming the first team in ACW to win and retain the XL Tag Team titles back to back at Animanias? That's going to be huge. But on the other side of things, the Impulse Tag Team titles, as Shoryuken, Ryu, and Ken will defend them against Kankuro and Gara, who have now been named the Sand Brothers. But Kankuro and Gara are going to look to take those titles as an ode to morality. So the battle between good and evil continues within and there. So we're going to see how that goes between those two teams and who will walk out of Los Angeles, the Impulse Tag Team Champions. Then we've got our traditional match, that is the Road to Destiny match, and we've got them for both brands. Obviously, on the XL side, it will be Soma Yukihara, Joe Higashi, Rock Lee, and Tatsumi all competing in the XL Road to Destiny match. Four people that are regarded as the future of the company for many reasons, but we're going to find out who truly does excel, no pun intended, to that claim. We will find out which one of those four will go and climb to become the new XL Road to Destiny briefcase holder. But then you got the other side with the Impulse Road to Destiny match. It's going to be an all-star lineup. Monkey D. Luffy, Neji Ayuga, Dark Magician, Zuko. Those four names alone have big, big legacies attached to them. You got Dark Magician, a former Intercontinental Champion, a guy that competed for the Impulse title. You've got Zuko, a former XL World Champion. You've got Monkey D. Luffy, a former Impulse Tag Team Champion. Neji Ayuga, a former Neji Ayuga, a former XL Tag Team Champion. That's what I meant to say. So that's going to be a big night for them to see who will reach the echelon of that briefcase and become the new Impulse Road to Destiny briefcase holder. Then on the Impulse side of things, it's going to be Trunks going one-on-one against Goten, where the same bloodline is hanging at the balance here. Goten has had a lot of irritable actions that he has caused towards the likes of Trunks and even his own father, general manager of Impulse, Goku. And now you gotta wonder, Goten has been named the Prodigy since he arrived in ACW, won the Cruiserweight title on his first night here, but he's facing a beast, an entirely different beast in Trunks. And Trunks is already pissed off to the point where he was called in for Goku to take out, or at least calm down Goten, but now it's gone way personal than that to where Trunks isn't even listening to Goku. And speaking of Goku, Goku will be the special enforcer of that match to keep everything in control and intact. So we'll see if the Saiyan race is in trouble or will be kept in balance. And Animania 5 this Friday night. Also, you got the Excel side of things. We will finally decide, and I referenced it earlier, who is the greatest fighter of all time. It's Sagat, the television champion, defending that title against Akuma the Demon. Now, like I referenced earlier, Father Time is catching up to the likes of Sagat and Akuma in an era right now in CAW where the landscape is where the future is now, to where the future is starting to take spots in certain respective leagues, and no different here in ACW. They're taking them, and they're not going to allow anyone to tell them otherwise. I can look at, King JJ or Night Raid or those kind of guys. Now Akira Kurusu and Soma Yukihara, Joe Higashi, all those guys. So for Akuma and Sagat, it could be one of their last times that they can really truly put out a performance of a certain nature. The question being, however, though, is who's walking out not only as television champion, but who is also going to be regarded as the greatest fighter of his era. Will it be Sagat or will it be Akuma? Then you go back to the Impulse side. It's going to be where history is also going to be made in this sense, where both titles will be defended at the same time, where the Intercontinental and Cruiserweight titles will be on the line. Intercontinental Champion Hiei will defend, as well as Cruiserweight Champion Eren Yeager. Now, both men have said their pieces and they've gone after each other, but the question is going to be here in this sense, which one of these men are walking out of Los Angeles as a double champion? Who will have the illustrious honor to become Cruiserweight and Intercontinental Champion at the same time by the time this show is over? Hiei versus Eren Yeager, that could be very well a sleeper match in my opinion. Then we go back to the Excel side. The Glamour X division is going to be in disarray, and it's going to tell you the future of where that's going to go, as the champion Juri Sonata will defend that title against the newly Christian Queen Cobra and Reiko. These two women have gone back and forth with each other. This all goes back to when Juri Sonata was even signed to ACW, and that was back 4 years ago. And Juri Sonata said verbatim that she wanted Reiko Hinamoto. She was one of those people that she wanted when she arrived to the Glamour X division. Well, here we are after a outstanding and memorable and iconic best of 7 series that those two ladies had, to where Juri eventually became the Glamour X champion from Reiko. And then when Reiko returned and turned her back on Juri Sonata, which shocked a lot of people and just completely changed the way she looks at things, and the way her whole attitude has become, it's quite possible that Reiko is not only going to try to be champion again for a second time, but she will also look to effectively try to end Juri Sonata's career. And with the way that she has landed those knees and certain other head-related moves onto Juri Sonata, you got to wonder, is Juri Sonata even 100% to compete this Friday night? And quite frankly, will it even be enough for Juri Sonata to fight against Reiko? Because Reiko is determined to put down Juri Sonata. And I will say this also right now, and I will also announce this either later tonight or early tomorrow morning, but You all saw the Akuma Sagat video package on BitChute um, earlier yesterday. Tomorrow night will be the video package for Jury and Reiko. So if you thought Akuma and Sagat was anything great, strap in your seatbelt for Jury and Reiko because it's going to be a very, very intense video package for all parties involved. So the Jury Reiko video package will be available on demand on BitChute tomorrow. So just be on the lookout for that. Whew, man, this is a card. And then we get to the two world title matches. We get to the two world title matches that solidify and identify what anime championship wrestling truly is. We get to the Impulse side first. The final debate is going to happen here at Animania 5. Sasuke Uchiha, the Impulse World Champion, is going to defend his title against the Impulse Rumble winner of this season, Naruto Uzumaki. Despite their history, despite their rivalry, despite the people they have faced, they have never faced each other one on one in an ACW ring. In the 13 years that this company has existed, they have never fought each other one on one in a ring, in an ACW ring. And that's going to happen at Animania 5 this Friday. I don't know what to expect. Honestly, I can't even tell you who's going to probably win. All I know is that it's going to be a match to remember, and it's going to be a match that we're all going to be talking about for probably many years to come. I said this before on the last episode of Impulse this season. Will it be Naruto's last resolve, or will it be Sasuke's last stand? And I meant that because these two have a purpose. They have a reason why they want to be champion. Naruto hasn't touched that title in over 10 years. And now he wants to be able to climb back to that mountain. But in order to do that, he has to knock off the man he knows more than anyone else in Sasuke Uchiha, who has ran with that title all throughout the season, who made his legacy solidified and immortalized at Animania 4, defeating Gohan, excuse me. So this match is going to be personal. This match is going to be very emotional. Who is going to walk out as the Impulse champion? Who knows? But we'll find that answer on Friday. Then we get to the main event. The main event of this event that's culminating for 10 plus years here. One of the greatest rivalries in ACW history, in my opinion. Haru Glory is going to defend his XL World title against Edward Elric, the 2017 King of Elite and the self-proclaimed best in the world. I gotta tell you, man, it's been brewing for a while, but Ground Zero was when this whole rivalry really exploded at its apex. With the way Elric won, with the way Elric left the company initially, and the way it was handled in the aftermath with him not being there, going all throughout these CAW leagues and defending, quote unquote, his title over there. And I wasn't a fan of that, and I still really am not a fan of it. But I had to really understand that I know a lot of you people that are watching and listening to the newscast and those that watch ACW period, some of you guys really do like Edward Elric. And it's my job to make sure that you fans are ultimately entertained and satisfied. So that's why I initiated him coming back here to ACW. Now, the likes of Mr. Smith weren't particularly happy about that. He would have preferred not for Elric to come back. But I had to do it for the fans. So, Haru and Elric's going to be another match that's going to be very emotional and personal for all the opposite reasons that Naruto and Sasuke was. Believe it or not, this is Haru's first ever main event at an Animania. And that's something that I had to look back and realize too, that for all the times that Haru's been in ACW and in Excel and then has done all these Animania matches, you know, you look back, the first Animania in Los Angeles, Haru fought Sasuke and won. Second Animania, Haru Glory fought Moroku the Monk and became Excel World Champion for the first time. Animania 3, Animania 3, he was a part of the Excel Road to Destiny match, and he won it. He was a part of the anime. Sorry, I'm getting old. Not getting old, but you know what I mean. He was in the Excel Road Destiny match, Animania 3. Animania 4, he actually won the thing in Miami. And then here, Animania 5 is going to face Edward Elric. When you look at Edward Elric, the first Animania in Los Angeles, won the first ever Road to Destiny match at Animania. Animania 2 was in the main event against Beast Boy and Naruto for the Impulse World title. And was, we all know the story of that whole match and ending. Animania 3 went one on one against Mugen and lost his television title. Animania 4 competed in that Excel Road to Destiny match against with Haru Glory, which Haru ultimately ended up winning. It's weird seeing these two men and their trajectory throughout the annals of ACW, and this is all going to culminate in a second world title match this season for these two men. Say what you want about Elric, say what you want about Haru. These two deserve to be in this main event spot. These two deserve it because of what it means and what it says for ACW and quite frankly CAW. Animania has truly become a spectacle for CAW. It's truly become one of those events to where um, everyone's going to be watching. So that's going to be the main event for the XL World title. Edward Elric challenging Haru Glory for the XL World Championship. If that wasn't a way to truly cement the 10 plus years in the making for ACW Animania, I don't know what will. Those two world title matches truly solidify Animania for what it represents and what it is. So there you have it. There you have it. That's what's going to happen. Animania 5 coming to you Friday night. Now, granted, like I said, if I can't get Animania 5 on time on Friday, it'll definitely be ready by either Saturday or Sunday. But regardless, you're going to get Animania 5 this weekend. I want to be very clear on that. You're going to get Animania 5 this weekend. I've had too many sleepless nights. I've ignored way too many certain requests. And I've worked way too hard on this whole project to where I don't get this done by this weekend. I'm like 85 to 90%. I'm 85 to 90% almost done with this whole Animania 5 mega event. So I want to thank everyone for being patient. I know that I had to push this Animania back for a couple of months. I understand that the season should have been over like last year, but things happen. Hopefully, when you guys watch Animania 5, you'll understand why I had to push it back because I truly wanted to make this a memorable Animania. I truly want to make this an Animania that a lot of people will never forget. I truly want to make this Animania the greatest Animania of all time. I think by the time you end up watching Animania 5 on Friday or this weekend, you'll say the same thing too. And trust me, I've had a lot of Animanias a lot of people still recognize. Animania, the first one obviously because it's the first one. Animania 2 because it changed the face of ACW. Animania 3 because of the match quality. Animania 4 because of the stories going into it. Now it's Animania 5. It's the anniversary Animania, if you will. So I have a lot to live up to. I understand that, and I damn know well that I'm going to lose my voice by the end of that night. It's a tradition. It is what it is. But I enjoyed it, and I want to thank all you fans for enjoying this roller coaster ride with me. Whether you guys are old fans or new fans, whether you guys have been rolling with ACW since 2006 or years past, or if you're just a new fan that found ACW this season and this year, I truly do appreciate you guys for supporting ACW, for really trying to make ACW one of, if not the premier CAW league out right now, and I do appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. So actually, Elric retained against Mugen. I knew it was Elric, but I wanted to say Mugen. Yeah, my mind isn't as sharp as it once was. So, anyways, I want to thank the fandom for helping me with Animanias throughout the years, and hopefully this Animania 5 is going to be something that it's my gift to all of you for rolling with me all these years. Let's put it that way. So, with that said, let's get to our questions and comments, folks. It's this portion of the newscast where you can send me any questions or comments that you would like answered, and I will answer them to the best of my abilities. Um, I will try not to go too long with this segment because it is getting late here, and I do want to finish up on Animania 5 like I stated. But if you guys have any questions or comments about, and it doesn't have to be ACW or CAW. You all know that it can be like wrestling or gaming or movies or anything or music or life or whatever. I'll try to answer to the best of my abilities. So I'll give you guys a few seconds to catch up on the live chat to put down any questions and comments you guys may have, and we'll start this whole thing. And by the way, after the end of this Q&A section, I do want to address something. I had a little bit of a announcement that I kind of wanted to make, but I want to kind of run it by you guys before I make this official, because it's looking like I might make it official, but I kind of want to ask you guys before I make anything too official. So see. And by the way, if you guys ask a question and I haven't answered it because the chat goes fast, just keep posting on the live chat before, and then just keep posting on the live chat and I'll get to it. I will get to it. All right, let's see here. Let me scroll through here. This is great dead air as I'm scrolling through here. That's awesome, Hakeem. Okay. Spooky Pie asked, Hakeem, out of all the ACW matches you've ever put together, which stands out to you as your personal favorite? For me, it's Robin versus Naruto in a cage match during Day of Reckoning era. Yes, that would be, I think it's the fourth or fifth episode of Anime. I'm sorry, the fourth or fifth episode of Impulse, where Naruto fought Robin before Robin was Nightwing on ACW. I think Robin was a champion. Naruto finally won the title there. That was his first time as Impulse World Champion. But that might as well be a phantom reign because now that video and that footage and that whole era really doesn't exist anymore. Thanks Toei Animation. Screw you. Um, but yeah, my favorite one. My favorite match to put together. Well, my favorite one to put together. I'll go more recent. Let me go a little bit more recent here. One of my favorite ones that I put together. Okay, let me say this. I damn near enjoyed every match of the best of seven series between Juri Sonata and Reiko Hinamoto that I put together this season. I really did. But I think everyone's going to reference it anyways, but I think the match I did at High Voltage, and at the fourth match of that series at High Voltage, that was the one I enjoyed the most. Because, and I think I said this before too, but every match in that best of seven series, total different story. And you'll see tomorrow with the Jury Reiko video package exactly what I mean by that. So just kind of be aware of that point. But every match wasn't the same in the series. There was a story being told in each match that I did. But that match in particular at High Voltage I enjoyed the most because, that was really an old school, I don't want to say strong style because everyone's bastardized that term at this point, but it was a very old school, new or all Japan match. It had that Kobashi Misawa feel. I know people have referenced Okada and Tanahashi, but it was kind of more so of a modern Misawa Kobashi. Um, Another match that I enjoyed recording, obviously Haru and Elric at Ground Zero this season was also something I enjoyed. Obviously, if you probably could tell, by watching it that I did enjoy recording that match. If you want me to go a little bit more old school, however, obviously Naruto Gohan at Animania 3. I mean, that's regarded as the greatest Animania match of all time, so it's probably that one if you're talking about more of an old school type of thing. Another one that's underrated that I don't think a lot of people would realize that I enjoyed, but Reiko Hinamoto versus Cammy at Victory last season. I enjoyed recording that match. That was damn near one take because it was just so fluid, and just the action between Cammy and Reiko was just so back and forth. I liked it. I liked it a lot. So make sure you guys check it out when you guys get the chance. Wow, we got a lot more questions now, and I wasn't even looking. I wasn't even scrolling. Holy crap. Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna go from here. Okay. Jamal asks, Avengers Endgame, what did you think? I could spoil it, but I'm not going to because I know some people probably haven't seen it. I know, I know. It's usually like a week that you kind of give them leeway, but all I'll say is this: it's gonna be a very different Marvel universe after this whole movie, and those that the certain people that died. Yeah, it's gonna be a very weird transition period after this movie. So that's all I'll say about that. Make sure you guys check it out, though. Would I say it's better than Infinity War? I don't know, but it was a good movie. It was a very great movie. Let's see, General Death wish list is: one, Tatsumi wins the briefcase. Two, retain to tag titles. Three, my own theory: she wants Roger fired as a GM so she can be GM of Excel. With General Death, because she has a cold heart, no pun intended, it's not that far off the thinking there that she may very well want all those things, but who knows what the mind of Esdeath holds. I really don't want to know, and I don't know either. So, Hakeem, would you ever consider recreating your own version of NXT? Second question: what is the most difficult part of being a call owner? From Blair Williams. Well, there's really no point in having my own version of NXT. That was UWL is not NXT. People gotta understand the partnership with UWL is more of a relationship with OVW. You know how when back in the days, because WWE had two developmentals, Deep South Wrestling and then OVW. Deep South was more of their in-house development, but OVW was its own promotion that just happened to partner with WWE, so that way they can, give talent to WWE to call up and send their own talents down to OVW. But OVW can still run their own shows, run their own promotions when they don't need the WWE brand to promote them. That's kind of what this partnership is with ACW and UWL. UWL is still its own promotion, but now it just happens to be also within the canon world of ACW, a development league. So that's really what it is. And the most difficult part of being a CW owner, I think, I think it's the trial and error, that you have to do when you're trying to produce shows and events to where, oh my god, did I miss this audio, or oh man, it's not rendering fully, or this is not saving, or the size file's too big. That's probably the most difficult, and then probably also doing like rumble matches, because you gotta. I mean, granted, this year's 2K19 makes it more easier, but previous ones you're pretty much hoping that certain things would fall into place. And yeah, it would make the obvious winner obvious, but you try to at least create intrigue and action to get to that eventual point. So, VPOC, very own UWRL, UCWL, okay. Let's try this again. VPOC from UCWL. This is why I'm so tired at this point. Um, Make sure you guys subscribe to UCWL, by the way. But he asks, I do have a question, Hakeem. I didn't notice the ACW Hall of Fame on the schedule. What happened to it? Yeah, so I know certain people noticed that there was no Hall of Fame event this year. Basically due to time constraints, and basically the thought notion is that it's really just an event where I'm just typing promos for legends that I'm not going to use more than this event, and then the two headliners that you can do for an ACW Direct event. So I kind of thought it was pretty much meaningless, or I mean not meaningless, but it was pretty much pointless to do a Hall of Fame special event at this point. So basically, the ACW Hall of Famers, Yusuke Urameshi, Cyborg 009, Mega Man, and Nightwing this season, they'll all be recognized at the Direct episode on Thursday. So I just did that instead, made it a little bit easier. Uh, Jeremy from obviously UWL asked if you had the chance to pick AEW's top 5 guys to be their main eventers. Who would be the top 5 guys of AEW? Alright, so I gotta assume that it's the current roster as of right now. So that means nobody being speculated. So you can't do John Moxley, you can't do Sasha Banks, you can't do Revival or anything like that. Top 5, I would go 1, Kenny Omega, obviously. 2, Pentagon, because he has a mainstream appeal in Mexico and other Latin countries that you would want to be able to expand your company. And plus, he's a damn great talent. Phoenix, for those obvious reasons too. He, to me, resembles a very modern style of Rey Mysterio combined with Mil Mascaras, so I would really try to use Phoenix to your best abilities. So that's 3. 4, and no, I'm not going to say Cody. No. But 4, you know what, 4, I think I would go with Neville, or the former Neville, Pac. I think I would go with Pac. I think he's got a certain look that would appeal to certain casuals, and he's got a certain character that can really appeal to the hardcore fans. So I think he can nail those two targets down. So I think somebody having Pac would be a very beneficial thing. And 5, I probably don't agree with this, but I have to be objective because this is about a business, right? So 5, you got to put Jericho. I probably don't agree with it, but it's just Jericho is the most recognizable name in the roster right now. It's Chris Jericho, so you got to use that to your ability. You got to use that to exponentially increase your business. So Chris Jericho would have to be in your top 5 main event core. So that's Omega, Pentagon, Phoenix, Pac, and Jericho. That's a pretty solid main event scene, quite frankly. If it hadn't been Jericho, I would have probably put Hangman Page, but just barely missed out. Um, on behalf of Eris Williams, how do you determine your talent as you make your CAW league? Well, when I initially started, the whole philosophy was basically get some known anime characters, but not too known, so not like your Goku's or your Yusuke's or that nature, your Sailor Moons and all that. But get your known talents. So it was 2006, so I got like what, Naruto, Edward Elric, Sasuke, Luffy. I got those guys. Those were the known guys at the time, so that made sense. But I didn't want to go like I didn't want to have to draft the usual people, the Goku's and all that stuff. I wanted to be different. And then you also want to draft the unknown people that some wouldn't know very well, but you can mold them and push them to where people can recognize them. Clear, obvious examples: Horror Glory. People know about Fairy Tail more than Rave Master because they're from the same creator. But now that you hear about Horror Glory, you know who Horror Glory is. Whether I push them down your throat or not, it is what it is. You know who Horror Glory is. Um, King JJ from Yuri on Ice, which is an anime I did enjoy. As a matter of fact, you probably didn't think I might enjoy an anime like that, but I actually enjoyed it. King JJ, I thought when I was watching Yuri on Ice that his character, his attitude, his braggadocious behavior was tailor made for pro wrestling. So it was an easy feat. Kazuki Muta from Buso Ranking, that's another one. Somebody that you can really put in that sense. So stuff like that. That's how I decided it. Then later on in the years, I started becoming a little more lenient with some gaming characters like your Fox McCloud, your Donkey Kongs, your Shulks and Roys. But that's really from the that's. But most of the video game characters I got were from Smash, and I'm a fan of Smash, so I kind of give them the leeway. Although I assume that might be changing soon. But yeah, that answers your question there. The OG African 15 channel. Pour a shot for the homie. One day we'll somehow come back. Oh man, I hope, man. I always ask this every time someone brings up my old channel. If anyone has any old footage from that channel, anywhere, if you saved it or if you know a website that still holds them, let me know ASAP so I can reserve them and keep them on my file forever. That's all I ask. I don't even ask for the channel back. I just want the contents that were in it. That's all I want. Um, who will walk out Animania ACW Intercontinental Cruiserweight Champion? I can't answer that. I can't be biased. I'm a broadcast journalist. I have to do my job objectively, and because I did the match, so if I predicted it, I probably would give it away. Um, your thoughts on the New York Giants for not getting Dwayne Haskins or getting Daniel Jones from Duke? Uh, I've heard certain points about it. All I'll say is this: is that the Giants are the Giants. In an era where Eli Manning is probably on his way out, you probably want to get a very decent to very good quarterback to try to follow in his lineage. And I don't know if Daniel Jones is that guy to do it. I could probably expect a trade in 2 years. What are your thoughts of the Casino Battle Royal on the upcoming AEW Double or Nothing? That's just the is that the Battle Royal where they're just kind of adding whoever wants a payday to get paid and do a show? I really don't have no thoughts about it. I will say about Double or Nothing that the buzz is there. There is a lot of intrigue coming with Double or Nothing. We're about like 3 weeks away, I believe, till Double or Nothing. So, With WWE right now with their record low ratings and just the quality of the shows being so poor and miserable, AEW has a true chance to show out and give wrestling fans a reason why they are the true alternative and why that they should make the switch over to them. And especially if they get this rumored TNT or TBS deal, the ball's going to start rolling very quickly. Bradley from All Star Call League. Make sure you guys follow ACL, by the way, on YouTube. One of the more entertaining and finer leagues that I do enjoy watching, by the way. But he asks, did you ever think you'd get this far in the CAW scene when you started out all those years ago? No, I didn't. I gotta be quite honest with you. I didn't think I'd still be doing ACW to this day. I did not think that. It was basically something that, initially ACW was supposed to be an E-Fed. I don't think people understand or know that, but ACW was going to be just an E-Fed. I was just going to basically type out the matches and the results and put it on my website, and hopefully people give it traction and check it out. If they don't, then I just stop it and go about my real life business. And then a little promotion called No DQ Call gained my little interest, and I became addicted and watched almost every damn near show and event coming out of that era. Seeing the Luigis and the Lynx and the Jason Voorhees and the Sagats, Mr. Clean, Spider-Man, Leatherface, all those guys, and it just really it motivated me to do something like that. And here I am as a kid thinking, well, this is all great, this is cool, but I don't really see a lot of anime characters in this CAW world. Maybe I should do something like that. I like anime. I like watching anime. I'm not a weeaboo, but I'm just like, I am a fan and admirer of anime. I like watching it, and maybe I should give anime some shine. And you gotta understand, this is back when anime was getting just this mainstream distaste from a lot of people. People would make fun of you for just even talking about anime, let alone mentioning it. People didn't want to hear about you watching One Piece or Naruto. The only leeway they would give you is probably Dragon Ball Z. So it was a very intimidating gamble to do with ACW initially, but I'm glad I did it. But I didn't think I'd be doing it this long, because I just didn't think I would be doing it this long. But here I am on our 13th year, about to head to our 5th anniversary of Animania. So it's funny how the way things work sometimes. John Mercer asks, after seeing Akami joining Night Raid at the Element Tournament, how many more people will join? I have no idea. I did not even know Akami was joining, because I thought the tournament was supposed to be relatively clean with tournament etiquette, as you heard me throughout that whole tournament. But then apparently Esdeath got her hooks onto certain participants. Akami bit the bait, and just like that, Akami now has aligned herself with Esdeath. I do want to state, though, that although I assume that she joined Night Raid, I don't know if she actually has yet. All we know is that Akami, at least up until the semifinals where she lost to Mikasa, aligned herself with Esdeath. So, who knows about what's coming up with that. Let's see. I noticed the updates on your Joseph stated, I noticed the updates on your Discord. I'm already loving the music corner. Yeah, thank you very much. For those that didn't know, last week we did renovate and update the Discord channel for ACW. So now we've got more sections. We've got more things organized now. So the ACW section is organized. We've added a UWL section, obviously, for them as well. And we have also organized all the other sections that don't involve ACW or CAW. So we've got a music section, a gaming section, a movie section. We got something for pro wrestling, CAW, and virtual wrestling in general, and we even got a spoiler section. So, just to warn you at your own peril, if you don't want to get spoiled, it's probably a wise idea to either not enter it or mute the notifications. But if you do, understand what the purpose of it is. But yeah, we've really updated our Discord, and we're going to be doing a lot of more innovation with our social media for next season. I'm already telling people that I'm going to be renovating the BitChute channel to make it more accessible and exclusive and more visible to the HW fans. So we're going to be really pushing a lot of our exclusive stuff on BitChute. So you'll still get your Excels, your Impulses on the main channel. You'll get your Mega Events on the Mega Events channel. But in terms of the exclusive stuff that you really want to see for more additional content from ACW, that will start heading on past, present, and future that'll start heading to the ACW BitChute channel. So make sure you guys subscribe to our BitChute channel right now so you guys can get all the details on that. Um, it may be weird when I say this, but how did this UWL partnership with ACW begin? I would like to know because I'm happy that Jeremy got something more connectable with success like you with CAW. Um, it basically, with Jeremy and UWL, I see the fire and the passion. It's just, it reminds me of myself back when I was trying to push ACW forward during the golden era. You gotta understand, the only prominent leagues from that era that are left are me and Lone Star with the CAW. We're like the only really ones left. Everybody else is relatively new compared to us. So, that's back in the days of File Front and Call Underground and all that stuff. So, when I saw Jeremy, he's just a guy that, was inspired by me, and I can't thank him enough for, showing that gratitude, but he saw somebody in me that was inspired to do his own thing with CAW, and I saw the determination, I saw the ingenuity that he had, and I said, dude, and I watched his shows too, and it's like, dude, you've got something here, man. Let me help you, man. So that's what it really started, and Jeremy's doing a good job, really trying to structure UWL. He said himself that he's going to be doing some improvements for UWL as they get ready for next level in August of this year. So just be on the lookout for UWL. There's going to be a lot of great stuff coming from that league. So and you'll see a little flavor of that whole UWL thing during the UWL showcase between Slide Cooper and Tiger the Dark at Direct on Thursday. So you'll get a taste of what UWL has in store for all of you guys. What are your thoughts of ACW's Aaron Yeager versus Battlex Tar versus TNXA's El Tigre versus TAW's Mr. Gumball Watterson at League's Collision from 1989 1-1? I have not seen that match. I guess I'll check it out if I get a chance, but I didn't see the match. What were your thoughts of the original competition of NXT? Did you think WWE should bring back the console exclusive games or just make 2 games a year to have fresh games? I think 2K needs to overhaul their complete dedication and structure of the WWE series. That's what I think. Because it's getting close to the fact that I'm starting to miss TQ. And even though TQ got lazy during the last parts of their their run, they were able to provide a lot of things that, they were able to provide a lot of things for us that colleagues were able to get by with. Somehow their AIs were legit. Story designer, just all these other things that right now 2K isn't doing. And they know that we have these concerns, and they refuse to do anything about it. So they need to do an overhaul before I really start giving them any benefit of the doubt to think that they're going to give me 2 games a year. Because if they can't pay attention to 1 game a year, why the hell would I want them to do 2? Any chance that Sakura Hagiwara will be signed to the ACW Glamrex division? Never say never. There was a lot of impressive participants in the Glamrex Element Tournament, obviously, and with this Element Championship being decided to where at least Yoko Lidner or Mikasa Ackerman is going to be a part of the ACW League if they win this Element Championship. Who knows? So, your guess is as good as mine, if I should say so. Can WWE rating go under 1.5 in 2019? It's damn near possible at this point. If WWE really doesn't start doing anything drastically that can change this quality that they have right now, it's possible. And football's coming up in the fall. The finals is coming up in June/July. And then that's the the preseasons for NFL. They got to do something. They have to do something. I know a lot of you people aren't fans of certain people like Goldberg and Brock Lesnar and Undertaker wrestling at this point, but honestly, who can blame them? They're the recognizable names. They need them right now at this point to get these ratings out of this free fall that they're in. Because Seth Rollins isn't doing it, Kofi Kingston isn't doing it, and you can damn well bet Becky Lynch ain't doing it. There's no stars in the WWE right now. The last one just left, John Cena. And Batista, quite frankly. Those are the last starts that the WWE made. And they're now either fully in Hollywood or at least with John Cena's case, are transitioning to Hollywood. Cena's going to be gone soon, folks. Like, soon, soon. Batista retired. Taker's getting there, and he's probably going to be retiring too. Folks, it's a harsh reality, but the fact of the matter is there's no star power in the WWE right now. And whenever a Brock Lesnar comes back, I may not like the way they book him, but I understand why they have to book him. It is what it is. Is it just me? But so just to ask, it's just me. But I would love to see you verbally go to town on an anime character you actually hate. I might do that one day because there are certain protagonists that I can't stand, and and some of them are ones that you might be surprised that I don't like, but that'll be for another time. Jeremy asks thoughts on the future Okada versus Jericho match. Meh. I mean, I'm gonna watch it obviously, but Jericho isn't as good as he used to be. I mean, he can still go in a certain sense, but he's clearly lost a couple of steps now. And Okada, as great as he is, I'm not necessarily looking forward to a long title reign with him again. So, and I know it's the New Japan way, I get it, but again, my point stands. There's probably a way on Google that'll tell you how to get your videos back. I doubt it. That African 15 channel was terminated in 2009. That was 10 years ago. I doubt it's activated. I doubt it's been saved anywhere. And if I would figure out a way to get those videos, I would have done it in an instant. But no such luck. So let's see here. Hakeem, what was your best rivalry in ACW? I can't believe I'm saying this, but Juri Sonata versus Reiko Hinamoto is my favorite rivalry. The emotions I'm getting from seeing Reiko turn her back on everyone still hurts in the feels, and I hope that Reiko gets what she deserves. Well, like I said, tomorrow night will be the Juri Reiko video package. That will be available tomorrow night, so all those emotions will come back again for you. But yeah, I've heard a lot about that, and I asked this last week too about what your favorite rivalries were in ACW. I asked it in the survey fandom with Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Discord. I asked that question. But what were some of your favorite rivalries in ACW? So if you want to let me know, that's fine. Um, was there ever someone who you look at and thought this person has the potential to be a top star in ACW, but instead they just didn't have it? It doesn't have to be someone who currently is in ACW. Um, that is actually a good question. That is actually a good question. Wow. I'll give you one, but it's probably obscure. You would have to be an old school fan to kind of know what I'm getting at here. But I remember one time I had Go Hinogami from the Virtual Fighter series. I think when I got him, I think when I got him in ACW, Virtual Fighter 5 just came in stores and all that. So I was planning to have Go Hinogami be a really big deal and excel. He was going to go after the world title. He was going to feud with the likes of like Haru Glory and Hiei and Moroku the Monk and Sasuke and Kinnikuman. Those are feuds that I was planning for Go Hinogami to have. I was going to build him up to be a big deal, but then I just kind of realized, it's just not going to work. It's just not gonna materialize to something that is gonna be worthwhile. So as soon as he was in, I kind of just let him go about a month or two later. That would be one example. SCAW and ACW are the OG of colleagues now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's weird too because back then when Lone Star and I, because we roughly started around the same time. We both started in 2006. We started right around the same time. So you had No DQ Call, Slam and Jam, ICCW, NGW, UWO. You had all those call leagues that were really the top names of the fantasy league section of CAW. and just ACW just starting out as younglings, and now 2019, you're looking at this sea of CAW leagues that are everywhere right now, trying to start their own second golden era, and it's just like, man, it's like now SCAW is gone past 10 years. I've gone past 10 years. Now we're the ones sitting there looking at the young leagues, finding their spots in CAW the way we used to do it back in '06. So it's pretty cool in retrospect to see that. It's cool. Um, New Dawn Pro. I assume that's Adam on the account. By the way, obviously follow New Dawn Pro as well. They just had their Young Alliance Cup that happened. That Kid Muscle from UWL won, by the way, which was very impressive. Congratulations go to Kid Muscle and UWL. But again, subscribe to New Dawn Pro. I believe Adam asks, Yo, quick question. What's one idea you had that you were close to making happen, but then you second guessed it and didn't go through with it? I talked about it during the ACW 10 series, which I didn't finish because I just didn't have the time to finish it. But I'll probably revamp it to something else to where I can really get to those perspectives. But one of the ideas was that the initial Gohan heel turn, it was supposed to be Naruto that turned heel at Animania 2. The thing about it was going to be that Gohan, because that Naruto was the star of DX. It was 2006. The Naruto series was hot. The Dragon Ball series was kind of falling by the wayside, and Naruto secretly wanted to keep it that way. But once Gohan won the Impulse Road to Destiny briefcase, Naruto started seeing that he was going to have his shine taken. So then there would have been one point where Gohan would have won as a face. He would have won the Impulse title from that briefcase, and Naruto would have to play sidekick, quote unquote, and that's when Naruto would have turned, and then that would have probably been where somehow Naruto and Gohan would have had a match anyways at Animania 3 anyways. It just would have been the roles would have been reversed, and it would have been for the Impulse title. So that's a little insider information for all of you guys that didn't know that. But yeah, Naruto was the initial person that I wanted to turn heel out of that whole situation, but then I kind of just nixed it and said, you know what, I think Gohan would be the better choice, and lo and behold, I made the right choice apparently. So yeah. Um, let's see here. Just scrolling here. Doesn't Gohan's suspension end after Animania? Yes, it does. So after Animania 5, the season is over, and with the season over, that means Gohan's suspension is lifted. So those that are expecting that Gohan's suspension ends at Animania 5, it doesn't, because the season is still active. Gohan would still be suspended. So that is what it is. Although I did mark out that I heard Gohan's music at the Impulse 100 episode. Um, he's still a piece of shit for what he did, but that song is great anyway. So I mean, you had to mark. Is it even possible for WWE to operate without Triple H or Vince at this point? I just want someone to operate it like a wrestling promotion. Just have someone that has enough deep pockets to let people that know pro wrestling run it as a pro wrestling promotion. Yeah, yeah, sports entertainment, variety show, traveling entertainment circus. I get all that, but ultimately, at the end of the day, in terms of the structure, it's still a pro wrestling promotion. It is what it is. They just say all that stuff to avoid taxes in certain areas in the country, but it's wrestling. Treat it like a wrestling show. You'll give these comedians and these soap opera writers and these TV writers and these college interns all these chances to write wrestling and wrestling stories, but you don't want to have wrestling people do it. I never understood that. Probably was a Stephanie McMahon idea, probably, but again, I still don't understand why. Let's see here. So you're anime based fed. How do you constitute the video games people as well? I think you're asking that I'm a primarily anime call federation, but I have video game characters. To be fair, it was to be more lenient because I wanted because the Smash craze was happening at the time, so I kind of wanted to add some Nintendo characters to it. But I always kept it primarily anime characters. It just happens to be that the video game characters are spread out throughout the show, and most of them come from Nintendo anyways. They come from either Smash or Nintendo. So, but I will say though that I do plan. I think I even said this on a recent newscast, but um, I do plan to kind of restructure the focus more so back to anime characters. It's always been that case, but it's more of a refresher to be where okay, it's this is why it's a primarily anime uh, league to per se. So I do get that question a lot. And it's a legitimate question. So um, let's see here. All right, I will give you guys. Let's see here, because we've been at it since 10:30. This should have been over a long time ago, but it is the pre-Animania edition, so I kind of give you some leeway. Let's go another 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes to get your final questions in, and we'll call it a night here. I'm just gonna do a little lightning round here, so we can get these out the way. If Naruto turns heel at Animania 2, would the JSA still form? Who even knows? It could have been Naruto leading that whole faction, for all you know. That would have been interesting. Well, not for me, obviously, but Hakeem, which titles would you kill off in WWE right now? I would kill off. I would make it just as simple as it usually used to be. One world title, one secondary title, one women's title, one tag title, and maybe one third title, or third tier title. So I'm keeping the WWE Championship, so the Universal title is gone. I'm keeping the Intercontinental title because it has more lineage and history with the WWE than the United States title, so the US title's gone. I'm merging the two brands tag titles to just make it a WWE tag team title. Same goes with the women's titles to make it one women's title. And then for your third title, I'm not gonna say like what you know. You know what? The third title should actually be the women's tag team titles. As much as it doesn't mean anything at the moment right now, as much as they've really already royally screwed the pooch on it, you gotta have titles for your women's division because you have a lot of them. So I'm fine with the women's tag title staying there, but that's ultimately what your title structure should be: one world title, one secondary title, one women's title, one tag title, and one third tier title. Um, ACW versus JSA was my introduction to ACW, and even though this wasn't a long feud, I still enjoyed every much enjoyed the rivalry between Cloud Strife and Joe Higashi over the television championship. Yeah, that Cloud Higashi rivalry was pretty fun, man. That's in my opinion. Again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I just want to retort that Joe Higashi Cloud Strife feud is exactly how you should book a mid card level feud or an upper mid level card feud. Two guys that you can really see as main eventers, but they don't need to be in the main event scene right now. They can still make their own noise. They can still do their own thing in a tier below the main eventers in the mid card, and still light it up the way they can light it up. So, yeah, I enjoyed that too. I enjoyed, obviously the epic ladder match at High Voltage that last season too. Great stuff. Um, I guess Teen Titans is an American anime, so they got a pass. No, that was just me being a mark for Teen Titans. That was just me kind of formulating what I wanted to do with certain things. So, as you can see, there was a reason why the Teen Titans were dying off as soon as I was getting ACW more into traction. So, you know, let's see. I came your opinions on Mortal Kombat 11. I don't really have any opinions on it. I haven't played the game or bought it yet, so. Your thoughts on Naruto's heel turn in UCWL versus Green Arrow? Could we potentially see it at Animania versus Sasuke? Well, hey, I mean UCWL did the Naruto heel turn that I was originally going to do, so I mean Naruto had to turn heel eventually, but I was iffy at first because Naruto's one of those guys who should always be a babyface. Not saying that he should, not saying that I will always have him a baby, not saying that I wouldn't have him always as a baby face, but he's one of those characters to where if he's gonna turn heel, it better be for a damn good reason. If he's gonna turn heel, it has to be a certain action or a certain event that made that the case. It can't just be you being Vince Russo and just turning him just because you want to turn him. You can't do that with someone like Naruto. Could we? Let's see. Your sad thoughts on John Singleton passing away. Yeah, that was a very sad that was very sad. Um, John Singleton was one of those directors that really gave a voice in a cinematic level to a lot of black people and their struggles in America. You know, Higher Learning, Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, all those movies that John Singleton just directed um, are a part of our culture, and it's sad that we've lost another brother like that, you know, in that way. But we know that his contributions to cinema, his contributions to black culture, really is going to be something that won't be forgotten. So, rest in power to John Singleton and the influence that he had to a lot of people that he gave their breaks to, the Ice Cubes, the Regina Kings, the Janet Jacksons, the Baby Boy with Tyrese Gibson, the Gooding brothers, Omar and Baby Boy, and then Cuba Gooding and Boys in the Hood. So you gotta always give him credit for that. Um, let's see. Um, Why the downplay on Zabuza in later years? It wasn't so much of a downplay as it is just that every person in a league or even a wrestling promotion, for example, they have a spot. They have times where they're going to be main eventers, and then there are times where they're not going to be main eventers. Vice versa. Not everybody can be a main eventer. Not everybody can be a world champion. People have roles to play. You don't have to be a world champion to get over. You don't have to be a main eventer to put on the best match. You don't have to be a top player to still have your contributions noticed and recognized by a promotion or league. So, Zabuza had his ebbs and flows. That's just kind of the way it is with in terms of what I think wrestling roster should be. It should be where every role has a part to play, not necessarily just dragging you down per se. Hakeem, would you consider hiring any more members from the Game of Roses since Reiko Hinamoto is the only one so far? I can't really say yes or no, but probably not, just because like others brought up earlier in the newscast and what I've thought for a while, that this is still an anime centric league, so the focus always will go to them per se. But that's not to say that there's certain gaming characters that won't get their shine as well. So, um, ACW booked by Russo. That's scary, bro. Yeah. Can you imagine an ACW booked by Vince Russo? What would it be? How would this go? How would Vince Russo book ACW? Let's see. I think it would be the JSA would have won at Animania 4 and kept beating up the faces without the faces getting any advantage whatsoever in this feud. That would be one way. I think it would give it to people that aren't necessarily being called for a world title run, like Real Matches. And I like Real Matches, and Prince of Tennis is a top 3 anime for me. Like, legit, Prince of Tennis is a top 3 anime. But I mean, Real Matches as world champion, and this is a good story. I'm not about all that. So, what else? Probably be a mythical cage in a box match with I don't know, Edward Elric and Kazuki Muto. Talk about Hulk Hogan versus Billy Kidman there, huh? Yeah, I don't know how Vince Russo would book an ACW or book an anime league in general. That would be very weird. But quite frankly, I mean, he's booked WCW, WWF, and TNA. I mean, what else does he have to lose at this point? Uh, Schoolgirl outfits on everyone and ramen on a pole, ramen on a pole match, exactly. Holy crap! Straight Cougar would have been exultant. Yeah, very much. Yeah, it would have been like Straight Cougar. He looks the part. Straight Cougar gets all the ladies talking. He's what casuals look at as a cool person. Nobody wants to see an Edward Elric. He's short. He's small. He's not that appealing to look at. I guess he would really make excuses for all that stuff. If you want to go watch Lucha Libre, go to Japan. Great one, Vince. God. All right, and I guess I have reached my end here. All right, well, that was a weird way to end that with a Russo question for this newscast, but it is what it is. But there you go, folks. That is the ACW Newscast for tonight to kick off Animania 5 week. Tomorrow night is the ACW GWM Super Show Showdown in Yokohama. That'll be available tomorrow night on the YouTube main channel. Jason Brown from UWL will be commentating that for the English listening viewers as well. It took place in Yokohama, Japan a couple months ago, so it'll be finally shown. The next newscast will be this Saturday. It'll be the night after Animania 5 on Friday, or whenever it comes out this weekend. But it will be the night after Animania 5. So, any questions that I didn't get to, you can ask them once again on the newscast. We'll go over Animania 5 and what happened that night. We'll talk about some other things as I go into hiatus for the rest of the summer. Because I guess I'm coming back around, August? Yeah, so I'll be coming back in August. One more thing that I do want to address though before we sign off here. So I did say that I had a little bit of an announcement that I want to make. Well, not really an announcement. That kind of more of an idea, I guess. But so personally and privately. I've gotten some personally and publicly. I've gotten some suggestions that yours truly, Hakeem Johnson, should look into starting a wrestling podcast. So basically, it would be the newscast, but more wrestling oriented. So the thing of this is, here's the thing: if I'm going to do a wrestling newscast, or yeah, a wrestling newscast, if I'm going to do a wrestling podcast, right? That means I would have to create my own channel for it, which I wouldn't mind doing that. It would be something completely independent from ACW. Um, and I might even test the idea during the off season. Who knows? We'll see what really comes of it or materializes. But yeah, I was teasing something of that nature of doing a podcast for wrestling because a lot of people like apparently listening to what I have to say when it comes to that. People like certain opinions that I have with wrestling. So I guess I guess I wouldn't be able to you know dabble into that section of the wrestling world. So I ask all you guys two things. One, would you guys want me to do a newscast? That's the first. Newscast. Would you guys want me to do a wrestling podcast? First off, something, just something different from ACW. I'm still doing ACW. It's just the wrestling podcast would be something independent from. Whoa, something independent from that. Excuse me. Second of all, the second thing about it is that too, if I were to install a I don't know what would you call it? If I were to install a Streamlabs or a Patreon to where if you guys would like to donate any amount of money as low as $1 to the wrestling podcast so where I can be able to grow it and build it to something really great. If you guys were willing to do that, that'd be cool too. So that's my question to all of you guys. Um, people have asked about me doing a newscast. I'm sorry, a newscast. I'm doing one right now. Some people are asking me to do a wrestling podcast down the road, and it might be sooner than you think. So that's one. If you guys are down with that, and two, would you be down for setting up a certain donation shop to where if I do the podcast, that if you guys want to support the show or donate to help it really get out there and just do a lot of things with that, that you could donate and send some money your way because boys gotta get some equipment around here. So I don't know. I'll probably talk more in detail about it on the newscast after Animania 5, but it has been an idea that I've been thinking of. It's just that people have been bringing it up lately, and it's kind of re-sparked my interest in going down that route. So if you guys would like to see me do a wrestling podcast and just really, it would be an improved upgrade of the newscast. It would be a wrestling version of this newscast, but it would just be, there are things I want to do with it that I would improve that I just won't be able to do with the newscast. So if you guys want to see that, just go ahead and let me know on the chat line, or post it to me maybe privately, or tweet it at me, or post it on Facebook, Discord, whatever. And I'll really look into the idea, and I will also, if necessarily, establish a donation button to where you guys can donate to me, and I can be able to send that donation to the podcast and other things related to that. So yeah, so there you go. That was a little bit of a that was a little bit of the news that I wanted to get out there. It felt weird asking because I never have asked for anything in terms of money when it came to ACW. And I know a lot of people have asked me to be like, well, why don't you ever ask for a donation for ACW? It's like, it feels weird. I don't want to like take people's money. I mean, if you do donate, it is what it is. I'm not gonna say you can't. It's just that I always feel weird asking that kind of stuff because I don't want to be begging or like pleading for money like that. So, but I do want to really try to develop something with this potential podcast if I were able to go through with it. So, something to just think about. We'll talk more about that on Saturday for the post Animania 5 edition of the newscast. And yes, that would also include inviting guests over, having more video, visual options for the podcast, and all that other stuff. So, yeah, so that was just kind of what I wanted to get out there. But other than that, that will be it for the newscast today. Tomorrow night is the Super Show with GWM. Wednesday is the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate event. Thursday is ACW Direct. And Friday is the Big Kahuna, the pinnacle of this industry, which we call CAW, in Animania 5, 10 plus years in the making. And then the night after that will be the ACW Newscast number 94, where we will talk about what happened at Animania 5, amongst other things for the off season. And we'll just get to other wrestling related and other news that are out there as well. So, with that being said, that is Hakeem Johnson. I'm going to get back to putting the final touches on this Animania 5 as we're speaking. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow night for the ACW GWM Super Show at Yokohama. Until then, this is Hakeem Johnson telling all of you to stay cool. Stay cool. See you guys tomorrow.